Hello and welcome to the Black Dog, episode number 326? 6, yes, 326.
Which is my age, or that's what I feel like anyway.
He's had to make some tasty chili cheese.
It's a meal, a delicious meal for 6 people.
That man is a hero to me.
Yeah.
He's a trooper.
Yes. He's a trooper.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you don't know what we're talking about, I'll post it on the Facebook group soon. It's literally...
Did you do that last night?
No, I put it on my
your wall.
It was on my
right,
Facebook
okay.
wall. Yeah.
I just see there's so much sadness. It's like a mind black hole where it just sucks all the memory and just everything you were doing at that around about that time, apart from that one event. Just that's it.
That was how existential angst gets you.
Yep.
While making chili and cheese in a microwave.
It is the physical representation of a Pink Floyd song. I think that whole video is just
Melted clock coming out instead of cheese, yeah?
Yeah. It's like, you've wasted your life.
Yeah.
Tough.
Yeah. Here's a dish full of disappointment.
Yep.
Which should have been one of their albums, I think.
I think a dish full of disappointment.
Yeah.
It probably was. It was probably one of the ones they didn't actually release.
Later era.
Yeah.
Anyway, hello, welcome to episode 326.
Dark side of the macaroni and cheese.
Dark side of the cheese and chili dip. Chili, cheese, dip, darkness. Don't worry if you don't know what we're talking about. I'll post it up on the Facebook wall. Anyway.
Animals in microwaves.
God.
Kittens as footballs.
Food for £6. Anyway. Hello. Welcome to episode 326. I'm Lee.
I'm Darren.
I'm Elton.
And Jim is just rehabilitating himself to English time. And he has arrived on these fair shores, but obviously we weren't going to just ask him to immediately unpack all of his clothes and just jump straight on the microphone to talk about a film that he hasn't seen before. So
he doesn't need clothes.
He doesn't need to see this film either. So we are still Jimless for this week. But anyway, we're going to have a little bit of chat, probably trailer news, I guess.
I suppose
we're going to do a bit of that.
I've got fuck all to talk about in my week.
Okay, fair enough. And then we're going to go on to our third week of Roulette, Netflix Roulette, which is a bizarre horror film which none of us had seen before called Unfriended. So we'll be getting on with that pretty soon. But obviously, before we get to that, let's find out how everyone's week's been. And let's start with you then, Elton. How you been, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. I have watched 3 things this week of note, I feel. And would you like the good one first or the bad one first?
We'll do the good first.
Do
the good first.
Oh,
Yeah, do the good first, because the bad's always much more funnier.
Okay, fine. I've watched my very first episode of Death Note. I've never seen this before.
Are we talking about the anime or the...
Yeah.
Anime.
Oh, right,
original
okay. I was going to say, because I didn't think the TV show was out yet.
Of course it's the anime. He's going to watch that, and it's probably all about potatoes.
Oh,
how many potatoes is it?
There was not a single potato in there.
Was there not a lot of people standing around going,
What? Shots of
that. Go on.
But I've heard good things about the anime, and diving in on IMDb, I found out that there's a shit ton of Death Note related material.
Oh yeah,
including live action things, and I've also heard isn't there a Willem Dafoe film coming out with?
Yep. The trailer went out at SDCC as well, which is online if you look it up, and it's very good.
And it premieres on Netflix on August 26th, I think.
Yep.
Film, or is it a show?
Don't know at the moment. I think it's probably a mini series at the moment.
Right, it's probably about 6 or 7 episodes,
but
something like that.
We don't know is basically the honest answer.
Yeah. It looks good though. Why they bother putting any makeup on Willem Dafoe at all? Just give him some hair gel, right? That's it. So he can do the spiky hair of the character, and that's it. That's all you need.
Yeah, Willem Dafoe.
Yeah, Willem Dafoe. Hello, I play a scary demon type bloke in a series called Death Note.
I'm William Dafoe. I'm from that very unsuccessful moment of asking William Dafoe, which ended up on this podcast for about 6 weeks, and then nobody liked it.
Wow, you went through about 3
God.
regional accents there. It was truly great.
William Dafoe from up north. Anyway,
Would you cockney?
Not
innit?
about
yeah. Anyway, sorry, carry on, Elton.
that. Is he next to a cricket as well?
Yes, he's
I'm
yeah.
next to a little cricket type bloke.
Yeah.
He's sitting right there next to me
the
with a little top hat and a little gloves and a little cane. And he's doing a little dance number, kicking his legs up.
The nostalgia cricket. Oh my God, I remember him as well. We went through some right shit.
Matchbox.
Oh dear.
The
But anyway, I think I'll have to find out the trailer on that then. I didn't realise there was an actual trailer. I thought it was just rumours.
yeah, it's very good. It looks very cool.
Right, okay,
The,
cool.
the actual effects for the sort of like the big demon-y character look really good. Even though it's mostly in shadow in the...
But that's good.
Yes,
That's what
it
it's
is.
supposed to do. Don't
Needs to be in shadow.
don't give us a CGI character and then go ta-da. Make it hide. Give us something to tease us.
Yes.
Tease us. Tickle the balls. Don't go straight in.
I like the way they have they have the main focus on the main character, and you see him blurred in the background. So you see those two little points of light
Where
and
his
the
eyes
oddly
are.
shaped head. And
Yes.
it's just really good.
Anyway,
Interesting.
yeah, he's really looking cool. Yeah,
Good. Well, I've seen the first episode,
yeah.
and that has a lot of promise to it. I like the premise of it. Does everyone know the premise of Death Note?
It's pretty much explained in that trailer. So
Yeah.
Okay, fair play.
yeah. So
Right. Well, then, that's good then.
Yeah.
So I like that. I like the first episode. Whether that continues or not is to be seen, because I've seen various shows like this, and you have the whole setup, and it's like, oh, this is very good, isn't it? And then it just becomes very bland and dull in certain points until the last episode, where it becomes exciting again.
It becomes very
And
anime.
I'm looking at you, Invasion, as well, you bastard.
or Attack on Titan.
Up yours.
Come on, can we all just admit now that no one really liked it?
I haven't dived into the second season,
There you
if that
go.
says anything.
There you go.
I should have, but no, I haven't. It can wait. It can wait. But, okay, yeah, Death Note, I'm going to give it a couple of episodes, see how I go with it. If it becomes very repetitive, I'll dive straight out. I'm not wasting my time anymore. Sod it.
No, that's fine. I mean, it's been going for a very long time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that obviously tells you something. What it tells you, I don't know, but you know, it could, I mean, it's got a big cult following.
Let's have a look. I'm just looking at Netflix now, just to see what we've got there at the moment. It looks like there's only one season on there. So
On the Netflix
I think
one.
that's all it is. on
bloody
the
hell! Have you
very
seen how many
first.
episodes there are? It's 37 episodes in the season.
Oh, wow.
Better get watching that then, eh, Elton?
Yeah.
I'll give it 2 more. That's all I'm doing.
Well, let's see. They're only 22 minutes each as well.
Right.
So, it's a couple of those. I might give that a go myself. Yeah, once I've finished watching Fear the Walking Dead, I'll give that a go.
Oh, nice segue, because
Oh.
I've also seen Fear the Walking Dead.
There you go. See, this is a well-oiled machine now.
It certainly is.
It's just all nothing but smooth links.
Darren is greased up.
I am.
Yep.
And I know you want to talk about series 2. So
Yes.
I've seen the first episode of series 3.
Right.
There are another 8 episodes online, I think it is.
Right.
I don't know if that's the complete season or not, but it's, once again, it's all right. I'm finding it a little dull, though, on series 3, and that's only in the first episode, so I'm a bit worried about this, but I'm sticking with it because I've heard rumours of where this is heading to,
Okay.
and I kind of like that.
The start of Walking Dead, isn't it?
No, I think
No,
it's already past that point. It's now. it's now past the beginning of Walking Dead, and so the two, it's kind of like now
running
going
in parallel.
Sort of. I think this is now halfway through what would be season 1 of The Walking Dead.
Mm.
Oh, right.
So it's that, because it takes place about, is it 2 weeks or a month before The Walking Dead starts? Because it shows how the infection, the series
I'm
itself.
not sure how far behind it is.
It's while Rick is in the coma, that's when it actually starts. So it shows you how the infection begins and how society itself kind of breaks down. And yeah, I mean, the first season was only 6 episodes, so it's a nice little introduction. Some people got on with it, some people didn't. I personally really liked it. So although there are 1 or 2 characters in it that really
go die in a tire fire.
Fucking yes. Yes, 2 characters in particular.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay.
Talk about it later.
So you're bored by the first episode of the 3rd season. That's never a good thing, because usually that's when they spaffle their budget.
It's supposed to get really ramped up now, isn't it? I'm hoping it'll get ramped up later on. Well, I'm hoping it'll get ramped up now, actually. Otherwise, I won't fucking watch the rest of it. But I'm sticking with it because I like where I've heard rumours that it's going to be heading. So I need to stick with it.
Yeah.
Because I want to see it from the other side as well.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think it's worth watching just for a completions point of view. Whether it's going to be a classic or something to remember, I don't know. And I feel you won't have to watch this if you still like The Walking Dead. I think you could easily ditch this and then it doesn't detract from The Walking Dead whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't think you need to have watched The Walking Dead to get on board with this one.
No. I mean, I literally have only seen the tiniest fraction of the first season, of the first episode. Because I did a little Danny bit of it, which was one of my last jobs at Stargate. So yeah, but it was a fraction, literally.
Oh, did you? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, Stargate does all the effects for Walking Dead, so
right. Okay.
So we did a couple of shots for Walking Dead, and then I did one shot for Fear the Walking Dead, which just had some anonymous bloke walking up a very long road.
Right.
Elton, would you agree with me, right, that if the show finished tomorrow, the guy who plays Strand could easily get a job on radio?
Oh, God, yes.
It's his voice, because he speaks just like this, and everything
now
he says.
We're going to a commercial break.
Oh, yeah. And it's everything he speaks. Every time he opens his mouth, it's like, you should be on fucking radio, mate.
Hello, Mr. Freeman. Welcome back. Oh, right, okay.
He's got a really cool voice.
Oh,
and
right.
It sounds like this every time he speaks.
Would you like to buy some cough medicine? Because here we have some adverts.
Get on the boat.
Right,
yeah.
okay.
So, yeah. I can't remember the name of the actor, but he's got...
more Googling.
I wish I had his vocal talents. I really do.
Yeah,
Okay. He's brilliant.
You're not far off, mate. You're not far off.
He's quite a bit, actually.
Yeah. And the third thing that I've seen. Are you ready for this?
Go on.
I feel like I need to take a run up.
Oh, God. Hang on. Go on.
The Mummy.
What, the Tom Cruise one?
The Tom Cruise one.
Oh,
okay.
Dear.
And?
Holy fuck.
Is that a good holy fuck? Oh, I guess it's the bad bit now, isn't it? So
It's the bad bit. That is some shambolic shit.
Yeah.
It's really, really fucking bad.
Yeah?
Really bad.
Really bad.
Not bad, put it on the docket, oh, let's see what it's like. No, it's bad. Stay away from it bad.
Is it bad as in...
Jack and Jill?
Jack and Jill bad? Or, what's his name? What's that fucking thing of the dead?
Survival of the
Dead. No. Island of the... What's that? The House of the Dead.
House
of the Dead 2. Is it House of the Dead 2?
Shed of the Dead.
Yeah, Shed of the Dead, sort of like levels of shitness.
I don't think I've seen that.
Is it Blood Rain?
Couldn't compare it.
Is it Blood Rain?
Is it Blood Rain?
Blood Rain.
Or
Remind
as
me.
we call it,
the vampire,
Michael Madsen's last
Michael
theatrical
Madsen
stand.
and the
Oh God, that
ginger
one.
vampire and
Yeah, it is kind of like that. Yeah, because it's just fucking shockingly bad. I can give or take Tom Cruise.
Mm-hmm.
He can put in a performance. He does his job well. But when he's told to overact, or just act out of the shell of Tom Cruise, it's fucking dire. It is really, really fucking bad.
Oh, okay.
He's terrible in it.
Yeah.
I've never really thought that about him in any film up until now. He is shocking in this.
Well, that's killed that franchise then.
Well, before it even started, how was Now I think I know the answer to this because it tends to come up in all the reviews. How was Russell Crowe in this?
Not as bad as Cruise.
Really? Because I've heard he's got an English accent that sort of veers between England, Ireland, Wales, somewhere in the middle Atlantic, and then possibly Iceland.
What, the food
I
store?
wasn't concentrating on Crow because there were other aspects of this film that were just shit. There's a lady who I forget, who I should be Googling right now. Hang on a minute. The second billion.
What, the mummy herself? So to speak.
No, not Tom Cruise's mummy. No. Hang on, where is it? Bollocks. It's all gone fucking tits up.
Oh,
here we go.
Man looks up thing on internet.
Yeah. I'm looking out now.
Yep.
It is. Who am I looking for? Annabelle Wallace?
Never heard of her.
Okay. When you're watching a film and you know your characters' names,
yes,
do you find it jarring when the other characters repeat their names? Because Tom Cruise's name in this film is Nick.
Of course it is.
Named after his dad had a shaving accident.
And this Annabelle Wallace, Jenny, in the film.
Jenny.
Come on, Jenny.
Get to the ice cream.
I get you ice cream, Jenny.
Where are you, Nick? Come out wherever you are. He's wandering around and spends her script must have been line, then say the word Nick, then line, then say the word Nick, say Nick 4 times, and then Nick again. Because all she does is say Nick, and it becomes one of them ticks that you notice, and then you're like, fuck, she said it again. And then walking around a dark corridor going, Nick, no, fuck, oh right, we know his fucking name. Stop it. It's getting fucking annoying.
Do you think that was because Tom Cruise couldn't remember his own name? Do you think the Thetans have finally got to him? And Xenu from Xenu and the Scientology has finally wiped his brain. He can't retain any information anymore.
It was really, putting Jenny from Commando in there would have been much better.
Jenny.
Nick, where are you? It's all dark and there's a mummy after me. He's chasing me now. Go away! No!
There is dust. There is
ice cream in my eyes. It stings.
Who is your daddy? What does he do?
Okay.
So, don't go see the mummy.
Okay, fine. I'll bear that in mind then.
Heed my warning.
Heed your warnings. Okie dokie. Anything else, sir?
No, that's it.
Cool. Okay, fair enough. Well, then what about you, Mr. B? You said there wasn't a lot happening in your week.
No, I've just been working and just fucking working. It's been all fucking work and no play for me. Well, apart from getting home in the evening and playing on the Xbox.
Yeah.
Finished the main game of Shadow of Mordor.
Mm-hmm.
Which I enjoyed, but it was kind of that sort of thing of there was so much to do that you've got the choice of like completing the side missions, and I like to do that. I like to complete side missions, but then it gets to a point where I go, oh fuck this, and I know there's like 3 main missions to go before the end of the game, and so it's just
for it.
I just go for it, and it's like, well, I wouldn't have needed to go through any more side missions to complete this because, well,
You're wrong.
it's done.
Yeah.
I've completed it.
Okay.
But then there's, because I got the Game of the Year edition, it's got 2 extra expansions to go with it. And there's one of the expansions takes place back in, because the story in Mordor goes that you are a human ranger that gets possessed by the spirit of an elf.
Yes, I
and
remember.
that elf can't remember who they really were. So you go around collecting items, and as you hold them, you get bits of his history revealed, and sort of like, he starts remembering stuff. So when you finish the main game, one of the actual expansions is actually you playing the elf when he was alive, trying to build up an army to defeat Sauron.
But I guess from the fact that he's dead, that doesn't happen.
But no, it does. It's his powers that from that, the way he does it in the main game, they translate to you. You start getting his abilities as you sort of like your body sort of like is having him as a host, or you're a host to this spirit. You gain the skills that he had. But I've got to say that the expansion of you playing the elf is the actual powers are a lot cooler for the elf, because you get slightly different ones.
So you just get to run around and blow things up with your mind.
Well, it's not so much blowing things up your mind. It's actually brainwashing the orcs. Now, in the original game, you have to either sneak up behind the orcs and do what they call it's
a
like
possession.
it's like a stealth marker. You put on them, you run up to them, you come up behind them, and then you swing around. You fucking just spam them on their fucking bald head, right? And then that's it. They automatically become. Oh, you brand them. That's it.
Yeah.
You get this like, it's like I don't know if you've seen some of the. I mean, it's some of the orcs in Lord of the Rings. You've seen they have like paint on. They're all different markings, and this one is just like somebody's put their hand in white paint and just gone spam. You've been fucking tangoed, my son. Right, okay, so you tango. I like that better, actually. Yeah. So
tango.
You tango an elf, and then you can get him to fight for you. And they there's no time limit. They just stay like that all the time.
Ah, nice.
And the whole point of the game in the end becomes you taking over as much of the elf hierarchy or orc hierarchy as possible to take down the big bad guy.
Yeah.
So you go back in history for this expansion to do that. But whereas you have to literally get in close quarters to do that in the main game, in this one, you can do it from like 300 miles away. You can do, the long distance branding? And you just see him, just suddenly, it's like you're on top of a mountain, right? And you see a little speck in the distance you identify as an elf. And it's like a scene from Monty Python. You know the bit where Lancelot is riding up to the castle?
Yeah.
And it keeps switching between him and the two soldiers standing outside guarding. It's a bit like that, except you come from 300 miles away. You suddenly appear in front of the elf, and you tango them from long distance.
Nice,
but you literally you land up in front of them, so you stand there right there. But instead of having to sneak, you just teleport.
Nice.
So it's a teleportation tango.
Nice, teleporting tango.
A tangport.
Yeah, a port go.
A port go. Port tang.
Yeah, portang.
So you portang.
Tango.
You portang.
Patang.
Take them over.
Okay.
So, the expansion, I can't remember, because you got two. You got Lord of the Hunt, and you've got this other one, which is about the history of that previous character.
But that's all in the Game of the Year edition.
That's all in the Game of the Year edition. I think it's still on offer for about $5.
It is. I checked yesterday. Yeah.
Get in there and get some.
Cool.
It's good Batman swordy type combat.
Swordy. Yes.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. Anything else?
No, I think it's about it. Apart from watching
endless trailers.
Endless trailers. My God, I've been giggling with like a bloody lunatic watching some of these trailers just because of the pure joy watching them. And one in particular, of course, being Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
And it's like I said to you earlier, this is not the Thor we've seen in the other Thor movies. This is the Thor from that little Thor short where he in between, where he doesn't get invited to him, to battle in Civil War. He's spending it with his mate who's his new flatmate. It's that Thor from that little short movie that's in Ragnarok. It's that kind of sense of humour.
Yeah. Have you seen this trailer, Elton?
Yes.
The
I
new
have.
one. Yeah. Cool. Cool. Okay. As long as we're all on the same page, because that was going to be pretty much my week.
You can tell
about it,
you can tell that it's the director of the What We Do in the Shadows, just because of that humour.
Yeah.
And the little interactions between the characters, especially between Hulk and Thor when they're sitting there just chatting. That is just excellent. Just beautiful little moments like that.
Yeah. We had a fight. Did I win? No, I beat you easily.
That doesn't sound right.
No, it was right.
But that's what happened.
That's what happened.
That's what happened.
That's what happened. Yeah. So it's the San Diego Comic-Con trailers.
Yeah. So there was
plenty
that.
of them.
And I've got to say, I really enjoyed the Justice League one as well. Watch that. I'll tell you what, Aquaman. If this film is as good as this trailer is suggesting, then
Let's be careful.
Aquaman is going to just own that film.
Yes,
that's it. He's going to be the star of that film, not Batman or Superman. It's going, him and the Flash.
Yes,
actually,
the Flash.
Those two.
Yes.
Yeah, it's going to be their movie.
Yeah. Normally, I just run up to people, push
them, and run away.
Run away. Yeah. Yeah, I must admit, I'm trying to kind of keep level with the DC trailers because they've been so misleading so far.
I think this is... Well, I mean, I know people enjoyed the Suicide Squad one, but comparing this to the Suicide Squad trailer, this is a much better trailer than that. It wasn't music forced down your throat or anything like this. The humour... Or the humour seems quite genuine from what I can see in there.
Yeah.
And
they really do vanish.
Yeah, exactly that.
They really do vanish. How rude.
And was it, again, going back to Aquaman, there's that bit where it's just like, he's not sort of like, I am Lord of the Sea. He's just talks like just a normal bloke.
Die.
I think we're all going to die.
And then he does his Timotei moment as well.
Yes.
When he goes through a building riding down on whatever demon.
Surfs
out
the body.
Yeah, and he just kind of flicks his hair up. And,
there you go.
His hair.
But I like that in the trailer they showed before, where he's on top of the Batmobile. The Batmobile's flying through the air, and they see the two winged creatures coming towards him. He looks at Batman, and Batman's like, go on then. And he's like, woo!
What's your superpower? I'm rich. I mean, I really hope this... I mean, I know we've been down on DC films for a long time, but I still haven't seen Wonder Woman, despite having the ability to see it, if you catch my drift.
Yeah.
But
Wonder Woman is
I've heard that's the one.
It's the shaft of light through the sort of like the blinds that is. Oops, there we go. It is the shaft of light from amongst the darkness.
I'm just hoping that the infusion of Whedon into the directing process is going to help things along a bit.
Yeah, that will be good. Well, they're doing extensive reshoots for certain things, and
yes, they're doing it now.
I know, sort of like quite a bit of the time that can be a bad thing, but maybe let's see it. Let's give it a chance.
They're doing it for. I mean, if they do a certain amount of filming in the UK, they get tax breaks. I mean, it could be anything. I mean,
who knows?
So we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
But there's that trailer. There was Stranger Things. Season 2. Yeah,
I love that show. I mean, it just the soundtrack.
Yeah.
To that show is just brilliant. It's really got the feel of everything just right.
Yeah.
Have
you seen that trailer, Elton?
The Stranger Things. Yeah. The problem is I don't have any reference for it because I haven't seen Stranger Things.
Well, you got Netflix though, haven't you?
Mm-hmm.
Or are you still on my Netflix account?
I still have your Netflix. Don't worry.
Fantastic.
Get on and watch Stranger Things.
In which case, indulge in my Stranger Things rewatch.
It's downloadable from Netflix as well, so you can watch it during your lunch break at work.
Yeah, go for it. I mean, it's only my account. Nothing to worry about there. Just get on with it.
As long as you're not seeing certain sort of like, exotic movies coming up.
Brown chicken, brown cow.
Prison Heat or stuff like that,
Well, I'm getting a little bit concerned that you can see what I'm watching on Netflix now.
Oh, so you should
I
put
haven't
prison
turned
heat
it
on
for
there.
a long time. So
Delete
don't
history,
worry.
delete. I'll just delete my browsing history.
history.
No.
No, but anyway, watch Stranger Things. Do take a look at that.
I think those are going to be my last words as well.
I'll
Which is,
just delete my browser history.
what's that? Darren, what is it? Delete my browsing history.
You'd have to have someone you really trusted do that.
Yep.
Because the first thing I would do is go, "Oh, what's in his history then?" Just wondering, you did what with socks? Just his last vision as you hear the heralds, trumping in. It's like, you dirty bar. Face the black. The last thing you hear is my disparaging voice going, "You filthy fucking."
You promised.
You said you wouldn't show anyone. You do what with donkeys, you filth monster? No, it's not what it looks like. It was research.
I was studying to become a vet.
That's not the Animal Farm I'm seeing here, Mr. B.
You mean it's not the one by George Orwell?
No.
Oh, I've made a mistake.
Oh, you've knocked my bloody headphones out again. What's wrong with your flappy hands?
I don't know. Hold on. Me and my big
Hands.
flappy hands. I should have been a goalkeeper. But
Anyway, yeah. So, yeah, I guess just my week isn't really much more, to be honest. Apart from I watched Dunkirk.
you did.
Yes.
And
Yeah. I'm really conflicted about it.
well, I'm going to see it Thursday.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to tell you too much.
I might see it Thursday as well.
What I will say is all the reviews that you've seen that say see it on the biggest screen possible. Yes, absolutely. There's no two ways about it. It's just there is something very tangible about the fact that he's not using CGI for any of these shots.
Really?
Proper.
Oh man.
I mean, you know the story of Dunkirk, right?
Yes.
Right. Okay. Elton.
Oh, yes.
Right. Okay. As in the actual event.
Yep.
Yes.
Right, okay. So the things I'm going to be talking about are the events, not the character moments in the events.
Okay.
Are there any aliens in this film?
No.
Is there anybody called Kirk in
Nope.
this film? And did he get done?
Funny enough,
Is Danny in there?
no. Actually, it's hard to know what anyone's name is in it, but that's one of my problems. You see, because the thing is, on a big bloody great screen, and I couldn't get an IMAX screening, so what I did was I went to the very, very, very front of Bromley Cinema Odeon 1, sat
I've got a deck chair. I sat a foot away from the screen.
Exactly. It was A15. I was in the row A15, and it was like right at the front, right in the middle, with my feet on the stage.
Did you not have one of those big, sort of like, you know, those magnifying sheets you can buy for people who've got, you know, like when old people reading books, they like, it's literally a pane of glass, like the size of your telly.
Yeah, it wasn't far off. I mean, you know, literally the screen went in every direction apart from down.
Right.
And I'm sitting there watching this, and even the usher, sort of as I went to the toilet and came back out, and before the film started, and he saw where I was going, and he goes, "You know, we haven't sold any of these seats behind you. If you want to move back," I'm like, "Nope, I'm going to sit right at the front. Right, I've paid for the front. I'm going right to the front." So I went right to the front. So first off, go somewhere with a really good sound system. Go somewhere with a really big screen.
Yeah.
Because things like when you see the you know, the civilian boats,
Yeah.
and when you see the boats, you know, trying to get the people off the beach and all that kind of stuff, the aerial shots, the aerial dogfighting, all that stuff is all done practically.
Wow.
It shows, it really does, and you just sit there going, bloody hell. And you find yourself getting so tense all the way through it. You
Yeah.
don't realise you're getting tense. That's the thing. You're kind of sitting there, you're just watching things, and then all of a sudden you'll just find that something will happen, and the music's going all the time. The music's got this kind of weird sort of and then there's like engines fire up on boats or the planes fly over. The music goes that kind of thing, and it's kind of like you find yourself just getting tenser and tenser and tenser all the way through it. And then when it finally kicks off or something happens, you find yourself kind of going, and you kind of wind back up again. So, from an experience point of view, full on, pretty full on. From a storytelling point of view, it's weak. In terms of all the characters are all there, but like I had a problem with things like Black Hawk Down or Shaving Ryan's Privates. That whole thing of if there's 1,000 people and they all look exactly the bloody same, and the camera is following them going left and right and up and down and doing whatever, you can't. And it's practically for the first 25 minutes, 30 minutes, it's practically a silent movie. I mean, there is literally no dialogue. Lots of sound, lots of action, lots of things going on, but there's no dialogue. The main character doesn't talk. The main character doesn't talk for at least 20 minutes, and then he sees someone, and even his communication with that person is over the wind and merely like nods and nudges and kind of nods and winks and all this kind of thing, and all you've got is this music going all this sort of thing. So you're kind of just watching it. But then when they start to talk and things start to happen, you find yourself going, okay, I'm getting into it, and then they'll do something, and it's a bit. Well, I have to be honest with you. Without spoiling it, it was a bit Wile E. Coyote.
Really?
In terms of every time they tried something, it failed. But it failed in a way that if you look at it in a certain way, you go, actually, you just fucking give up, for fuck's sake. But anyway, there's a second story with the boats all coming across.
Yes.
And that
is it right? Is it
well, this
Mark Rylance?
Mark Rylance, very good. He's very good, but then he's just good. He's just a good actor. And so the stuff that takes place on the beach happens over a week. The stuff that takes place on the boat happens over a day. And the stuff that happens in the airplane happens in an hour.
Right.
So what you do is when it keeps cutting between them, you find that there's moments where you'll see like Tom Hardy, or rather Tom Hardy's eyebrows, because that's what you see of Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy's eyebrows.
It could be Bane in that plane, couldn't it?
And especially when he's talking.
Bane in the plane.
I took a bit of a hit. And
Can I just ask? Because Tom Hardy, when he talks naturally, you can tell he's got a little bit of that sort of. There's that sort of accent that the kids are down with these days. It's that real sort of
No, he doesn't have that.
He doesn't, because I thought I heard a twang of it.
No, he's got a. Yes, coming around on 4-5 and blah 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 blah. Going. I've got him. Dead Friday. I'm behind him.
So
what ho, Ginger?
It's like he was in Inception. That kind of very well spoken.
Yes.
That's cool. That's good.
Yeah. Yes. The thing is, darling, can dream a bigger gun, sort of thing. Yeah. He's very like that, and so you'll see like him flying over a bunch of boats.
Yeah.
And then you'll cut to something else, and then you'll cut to something else, you'll cut back to the boats, and then you'll see him flying overhead. And you're like, so that's where these two bits cross over.
Got you.
And for the most part, it doesn't really matter. But there's a couple of moments where they've obviously done it, and they're thinking they're being clever, and you haven't noticed certain things. And if you've just been a little bit observant, you go, oh, well, I know that's not going to be a problem because I've seen that 5 minutes ago. and I've seen that 5 minutes ago, and I've seen that 5 minutes ago, and I know how that's going to play out now. And then you cut to the scene that's going to happen, and it plays out that moment. You kind of like, okay, I know what's happening. You've already given it away.
Right.
And so all I did was I come away from the whole film just going, I've seen something that made me really tense.
Yeah.
Was really powerfully done visually and audio, and had some moments where, you know, as anything with a boat, you have that moment of kind of,
Yep.
you know, and there's lots of that kind of stuff. But at no point did I think, oh, thank goodness so-and-so's made it, or, oh, no, so-and-so's going down, or, oh, bums, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't give a shit about anyone in it. I really didn't. And that's the problem. And, yeah, and there's, like I say, there's a couple of moments where when the momentum stops, because it always gives you a little tiny breather.
Yeah.
But when the momentum stops, you start thinking about some of the things you're watching. You kind of think, actually, that's quite amusing in a kind of blackly comic way. And I won't be able to tell you what they are until you've seen it.
I will watch that.
But I would recommend seeing it. Despite having those misgivings, I definitely recommend you see it, because it shows you what you can do if you put your mind to it with a film. Because it's literally...
That's good.
There's nothing in it that isn't... I mean, there's obviously probably some CG in there. I can't believe there isn't. But, there are 30,000 men on that beach. There are boats in the harbour. There is a massive boat rolling over on its side on fire with people jumping off it. There's, there you see shit like that, and and there's no joking. There's no point at which you say, "Oh, that's CGI," because you've got bloody, Kenneth Branagh going, "Get it away from the fucking dock," and all sort of thing, and people jumping off it and jumping on the deck, and if that's CG, that's the best fucking CGI I've ever seen, ever.
Yeah,
And it's just clear that they built a fucking great big boat and a mechanic system to have it explode and roll off the dock.
It'd be interesting to see the making of, just to see how they managed that scene, I think.
So, I think in terms of craft, it's peerless. In terms of storytelling, it's pretty good. In terms of keeping you tense, it's very well done. But by the end of it, you're just like, I didn't care about anyone in it. And that was the one thing that let me down. I just really wanted to engage in it.
I think that is a problem with war movies per se anyway, sometimes.
Yeah. But,
what he's trying to do is trying to immerse you in what was actually going on, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
And these guys live with each other, so they know what they look like when they're covered in shit and mud and sand. Whereas,
well, you say that, but the thing is, it's all done in a bit of a, it's all done as a bit of a panic.
Yeah.
So everyone's trying to get off the beach. Everyone's trying to get on the boats. So nobody knows anyone. That's the thing.
But
so
it's chaos anyway. It's meant to be chaos.
Yeah, exactly.
So the first time I watched Black Hawk Down, I didn't have a clue who anyone was. I lost track of people. But on subsequent viewings of that film, you get to notice them, you get to see where they are. Same as Saving Private Ryan as well, and Band of Brothers to bring it around. But it does take a while to get used to that. But I think that is a reward for once you've seen it a couple of times.
Yeah, and maybe I will see it again, and I'll appreciate it more when I know what's coming. But there's two main soldiers who you follow, and then there's one which they kind of join up with, which is Harry Styles from bloody One Direction, who, in fairness to him, is a good actor.
Yeah?
Yeah. But he plays such a dick that you just, when he gets a line of dialogue, you're just like, oh, shut your fucking mouth. You have no right to say nothing to anybody, you absolute cock. So, and that's not just because he's in One Direction, that's just because of the way he plays things. And the problem is, if you look at things like Saving Private Ryan, or even let's go out there a bit and go things like Two Towers,
Yeah.
You know, when you've got thousands upon thousands of people just clawing over over a hill, and there's a big fight, your stakes in that fight come down to, you know, Legolas and, you know, Gimli having a big fight with Aragorn on the top of the bridge, sort of thing. So when rescue comes in the form of Gandalf and a few thousand riders of Rohan or whatever it is, you're like, yes. And the problem with this is you don't give a shit about anyone who's on the beach. Kenneth Branagh's standing at the end of a pier, just looking across the river looking across the sea all the time, going, "So close to home, chaps. Just so far," you know, sort of thing. Yeah. And then you've got Tom Hardy, who's just basically eyebrows and a mask in a Spitfire, and his mate, who's in another plane.
He's gone from Bane to plane.
Yeah, he has. He has, pretty much. And then his mate, who's in another plane. And then you got Mark Rylance on a boat. And the thing is, Mark Rylance on a boat, he is a really good actor, and he is really well played. And then there's Cillian Murphy, who he rescues quite early on the boat with him.
Yeah, because like, I've seen clips of Cillian Murphy.
Exactly. And they're all on that boat, and Cillian Murphy doesn't want to go back because he's got PTSD, and there's Mark Rylance who's got to take the boat, you know, to Dunkirk. And that scene, that's good, but then you don't learn anything about them until the very, very end, and then someone just says one thing, and you go, "Oh, okay, I understand now." And it's just like, give me that earlier. Make me understand. And that's the problem. None of the characters you give a shit about, and none of the characters and their fates do you care about. And when you got that problem, you feel like you're just watching the History Channel, but really well filmed. You know, you're watching thousands of men running off a beach or running into the sea or running down a road, and you're kind of like, "Yep, that happened. Who are they? I don't care. I'm just it's a terrible event, and it's really amazing that this thing happened, but I can't. You know, that's why you put the survivors into a documentary, saying, "Oh, this was terrible, and that's terrible, and I remember this, and I had this picture of my sweetheart, and all this sort of stuff." Because if you don't know those people, you don't empathise with the footage that follows. And the problem is, I didn't empathise with anyone in it. But there you go.
Did at any point did Tom Hardy suddenly go,
"Well, Mr. Wayne, you are a passenger on a plane. I was born in it."
Actually, it was more like this. It was more like,
"Coming around for another pass, Ginger. Yes, I've got him. Okay. Yes. Took a little hit. Can't see on my fuel gauge. What you got? 32 pounds? Lovely. 230. Coming round."
And that's it. That's his entire dialogue for pretty much the entire film. Just,
"Okay, what have you got on your gauge? Can't see anything myself. Okay, leader, going in."
It's not funny at all.
No. But but the problem is, that is it. You learn nothing about him. You learn nothing about where he's come from, how long he's got. You've got no stakes involved. Mm-hmm. He sees a plane, he shoots it down. He sees another plane, it chases him around. He sees a bomber, he chases after that. But every time he goes to do something, we cut to someone else. And it's like, and we're suddenly like, hold on, is this 3 hours back or 4 hours forward? I don't know where I am. And for fuck's sake, I don't care. So that's the problem. It's technically brilliant, visually amazing, well directed. Feel every moment and every bang and every crash and every panic moment, but with no one to give a shit about, it loses something for me. Anyway, so that's my week. Right, we'll stop here because we got to get on and talk about this film, I guess.
We certainly do.
Oh, as much as I'd like to sit there and talk about Thor trailers and Speculation. If only we had a newscast.
I know, that would be
that would be good, wouldn't it?
That would be good, but who'd be crazy enough to implement that?
If only.
Which daring individuals would these be? What type of men would be involved in a caper like that?
news podcasters are a cowardly bunch. Anyway, right, leaving that unsubtle drop. One last thing before we do move on, because I always forget these things.
There's a couple of things.
There's a couple of things. Well, firstly, let's do the shindig.
All right, let's do
Just a reminder.
Yeah.
Shindig.
Yes.
9th of September.
Yes.
Nelly Dean pub, upstairs, in Soho. Nelly Dean, nearest tube station, Tottenham Court Road. Starts at 6. Event details on the Black Dog Podcast group, which is facebook.com/groups/the Black Dog Podcast.
Yes. Be there or be absent.
Yes, or not. It's just a pub visit. The other thing, which is a lot more relevant before we go on to the film, is that the next time you hear us will be a totally different type of cast, simply because we will be doing a commentary on Vanilla Ice, Cool as Ice.
Yeah, we won't be doing any kind of feedback
Yeah.
or anything like that. It will just be straight up talking about
This shitty film
this shitty film.
as we're watching it for the first time ever.
Yes.
And don't give us a Jesus, Elton. Christ almighty, between you, Jim and Darren, we ended up doing this thing.
I'm really looking forward to it.
I bet you are. You're going to come round my house and bring beers.
I'll tell you what.
I am.
After Manos, every fucking film's a work of art as far as I'm
It's
concerned.
a step up, I think.
God, Lord.
But anyway, so we're doing that for the Grenfell community charity, the Evening Standard Dispossessed Fund for Grenfell Tower fire victims. And you can donate, if you wish, to the thing, because we're doing it for charity. If you go to justgiving.com/fundraising/blackdog-cool as ice, all in one word. It's also on the Facebook group, and I'll be retweeting it again on the Black Dog Twitter feed over the coming days. But next Monday the 31st, we will be doing that. So just a reminder, if you've got any cash that you think you can spare to this charity, or you just want to pay, guilt us into watching this thing, because we can still give the money back, I guess, and run away and hide and not watch this thing again. But not that we would, but we've still got
Crossed
that.
your mind, though.
It's crossed my mind. After seeing the cover, it crossed my mind. But if you want to give, that would be most appreciated. If you don't worry about it. It's fine. It's completely understandable. Times are tough, and there's no judgment given.
Indeed.
So, yes, that's it. Don't forget the Black Dog Podcast Cool as Ice Commentary Challenge. Yes, we've raised £192 already. So thank you to everyone who has donated so far. Thank you so much. That's very generous of you. In fact, we've got all the list of supporters here. So thank you to Murray Christensen, Mike Byrne, Fiendish Dr. Will, David Baker, Matt Dillon, Tom McCambley, O'Deal. Thank you to Tracy Kelks, Sarah Lazelle, Leslie. It says
Gold.
Leslie, but I'm guessing it's Leslie Gold. Andrew Neal, anonymous, whoever that is. Jocelyn Hockley, another anonymous, and Badger Spry, and Drew and Tracy, and Alan Wilby. So thank you very much to everyone who's donated so far.
Well done.
Well
Golf cup.
done. Yes.
There we go.
Either that, or I hope the money for being a complete sadist works. It's worth it. That's all you're doing. You're just paying.
Yep.
You're paying for us to put ourselves through hell. Anyway, so thank you very much to everyone who's donated so far. And if you do donate in the interim, thank you. But if you don't, you don't. That's fine. Right. So that's it. Parish notices out the way. Let's move on to this week's film, Unfriended.
Ooh, we're watching a new movie we've never seen before. I'm buttering my nipples and waxing my ass. Roll up the Mystery Monica film. Roll up for the Mystery Monica film. Roll up
Masturbation.
for the Mystery Monica film. Roll up for the Mystery Monica film. The Mystery Monaco film is waiting for us to hit play. Going to watch it today, what will we say? Hey, Pablo, I need a heroin needle and a watermelon.
Right, okay, so Unfriended. Yes, a roulette movie. Netflix one, your choice.
Yep.
What was it, 10? Let's just say 10. Doesn't
Something like
matter anymore.
Yeah.
Right, okay, so Unfriended is a 2014 American found footage supernatural horror film directed by Russo-Georgian director Levian Gabradze, written by Nelson Greaves and executive produced by Jason Blum, co-produced by Adam Sidman and produced by Greaves and Timur Bermetvikov. Anyway, good on blimey, I'm doing well here. The film stars Shelley Heng, Moses Jacob Storm, Rennie Olsted, Will Peltz, Jacob Wysocki, and Courtney Halverson as high school students in a Skype conversation that is haunted by a student who was bullied and committed suicide named Laura Barnes, who is played by Heather Sossaman. The film premiered at Fantasia Film Festival July 20th, 2004, so almost 3 years ago to the day. And
2004?
2014, sorry,
Right.
14. At South by Southwest, and received a theatrical release April 17th, 2015. The film, which told almost entirely through high school students' MacBook screen, stars Shelley Henning as one of the several friends who finds themselves terrorized online by an anonymous person, Billy227. The film received a mixed to positive review from critics and grossed from a budget of $1 million. How much did it make, Darren?
I reckon about 6 million.
Okay. Elton?
Oh, 10 million.
$64 million.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. So, the production's quite short, so we'll do this. Gabrazzi was attracted to the project, which was then titled Offline, as it focused on the theme of bullying. He noticed that the nature of bullying had changed since he was in school, as the internet allowed for bullies to continue their actions even after school hours. Production was 16 days total, including 6 12-hour days of principal photography, 3 days of pickups, and then a few more reshoots. When filming began, mostly consisted of long takes at around 10 minutes in length. Shelley Henning, who portrayed Blair, found that this proved difficult for the energy and motivation needed from her and the other actors. At her request, at least one full 80-minute long take was filmed, with each actor in separate rooms in separate computers. The film ending was captured during one of these feature-length takes. The film's title changed during shooting and would change again prior to theatrical release, as the film crew felt that the title of Offline was too general and not obvious, and then the other title of Cybernatural was more to the point of what it was. For a wide release, though, the film was retitled to Unfriended. Reception. Unfriended received mixed positive reviews from critics. Review aggregator website Rotten Tomatoes gives it 62% based on 156 reviews, with an average of 6 out of 10. The consensus reads, Unfriended subverts the found footage horror cliches and delivers a surprisingly scary entry into the teen slasher genre with a technological twist. The reception at the Fantasia Film Festival was mostly positive. Common praise of the film centered upon its acting and visuals, and Twitch Film commented on the film as an interesting look at modern methods of communication and the ramifications of normal, always-on social media. Variety commented that while the film was exasperating at points, they also felt that it was also clever and innovative. Film critic Mark Kermode gave the film a positive review, calling it a film which understands Skyping culture and cyberbullying. He said, many people who have seen the trailer say, oh, you've been stalked through the internet, just log off. The point is they can't because they're addicted. While on one hand admitting that the film was a shrieky teen terrorized slasher movie, on the other hand he said that the film was about how cyberbullying only works if you cooperate with it. Brad James and Dave Gobble, by the way, from the New York Post, gave the film a very negative review, referring to it as repetitive, irritating, unoriginal, and insufferable. They said it was based entirely on one single awful gimmick, and Gobble even called it the third worst film of 2015. What? After films Do You Believe and The War Room. Some critics found it to contain unintentionally amusing moments that detracted from the experience. Lauren Cheval of Red Eye found that the film's scenes involving Blair's plea for help on chat roulette, as well as some phrases typed by Laura's ghost, including, "But in this version of a drinking game, the loser doesn't drink, the loser dies," to be more humorous than frightening. In cinema score polls conducted during the opening weekend, the cinema audiences gave Unfriended an average grade of C on an A+ to F scale. A sequel was announced and was greenlit and tentatively titled Unfriended 2, and production is due to begin at the end of June 2017, so it's underway now. And there you go. So none of us have seen this.
No.
Right, okay. A lot of links have also... There's a lot of links in here to things like creepypasta, cyberbullying, bullying and suicide, and take this lollipop, whatever the hell that is. Oh, yes, I know what that is now. And so... let's go through it. So, Elton, you're our regular horror aficionado now that Jim's not around.
Yep.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I'm stepping up to the plate, aren't I?
Yeah.
So instead of being in a wing-back chair, you're in a high-backed deck chair, or is it computer seat?
I'll go with the deck chair.
The deck chair. There we go.
Ball's blood deck chair.
Ball's blood. deck chair.
So basically, you're 1 potato, 2 potato, 3 potato, 4. So how's it going for you then with Unfriended? What did you think of it?
I like the idea of this.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem with that is gimmicks.
Yes.
And it's very shallow with the gimmick. Once you've had the gimmick, that is it. It is done. It's very much like songs with buzzwords. If you have a song and you have a buzzword like Twitter or Facebook, it very much dates it. And so this is dated around now, and in 10 years' time will look shit. Not saying it doesn't look shit now, but it will look terrible.
Yeah.
Date really badly.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where my problem lies with it.
Right.
It just doesn't have any rewatchability in it. This.
Okay.
That being said, I like how they dealt with it. I like the presentation that they've given us. I like that you are from one person's view constantly. You're looking at her screen constantly.
Yeah.
It's like a shared screen and you're on that screen.
Yeah.
And I like that you're going through websites and something is said and the websites will pop up and the videos will pop up, and it is like surfing the net. It is what I do. I don't have that many windows open, but I can understand why, and it looks quite cool the way it is presented in front of you.
Yeah.
Did I like it though? Did I like it?
And did it creep you out, more importantly, as well, given that it's a horror film?
Well, yes, that's the thing. I am a massive wuss. This film has really proved that I am a pansy. I really am. It got me tense. It got me tense a couple of times. And yeah, it's very clever the way it does it, the tension. It's, we can't get rid of this, and you're kind of trapped in this world of the computer. By the way, I was going to watch this on the computer. I was going to put the DVD in my computer, watch it there, and really immerse myself in it. Thank fuck I didn't, because I would have shit myself. That would have been one step too close to what I'm actually watching. So I'm glad I watched it on the TV. But I like the presentation that we got. We got a bit of history behind what's going down via the YouTube videos that they were dropping in front of us. I like the way that was done.
Yeah.
I like that. I like the interaction between the main people on the Skype, and then all of a sudden the surprise of someone else joining them.
Yeah.
And then the realization that it's just someone fucking annoying. Let's get rid of it. All ditch off and all come back on. And I've been on PlayStation and Xbox and Skype where that's happened.
Well, how many times have we done that in the cast when we've got, we're having audio issues and it's like, right, log off, log back on again.
Well, actually,
With Skype.
when we put up our first appear in photo, when we sort of were all on the, and then all of a sudden the third
We had that,
we
didn't we?
had a person join us, didn't we?
Yeah.
Mystery
A
person.
mystery person who we didn't react to begin with, and all of a sudden the text messages started coming through.
up. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it did remind me of that.
Yeah.
It was a bit close to home.
It was. I was thinking that actually as I was watching it. But go on, carry on.
But yeah, I've lost my train of thought now. It did get me tense. I can't remember exactly when, but it was when it was ramping up. But it's really hard to enjoy a film where you despise everyone on the screen.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not just a case of, I don't like him. I don't like that person. Everyone is a fuckwit. They really are. They're arseholes to each other. They're supposed to be friends.
Yeah.
I can get the banter.
Mm.
I have a problem with banter anyway. I like to know the people that I'm having banter with. And having banter with someone I don't know, I feel really fucking awkward.
Yeah.
And so they were trying to have that banter with the girl that joined them midway through.
Yeah.
And it got very uncomfortable. And so that put me on an uncomfortable seating position.
Mm.
And then all the behind the scenes texts were very well done, I felt. The conversations between the two people offline as well.
Yeah.
While everything else was going on there. It does give you a kind of rounded world, but it's a rounded world of today.
Yeah.
And in, let's say, 2 years' time, Skype will fucking change. It'll do something else. It'll be totally different, and this won't be relevant.
Yeah. But, I mean, in many ways, I understand exactly what you're saying. But what about now? I mean, if you're watching it as it is now... what do you think of it now?
I think I enjoyed it,
Mm.
but because of the coaster that it put me on,
Mm.
because I did get tense. If I get tense on these, then I realise it's had an effect on me,
Yeah.
and so I have to give it that. I can't just turn around. Oh, look, it was shit. It's just people fucking around on the internet. Why not just log off? Where I'm sitting there going, I feel awkward. I don't want something to happen. And when I know that there's going to be a jump scare coming along somewhere
Mm.
and the screen goes blank and you're like, oh, fuck, it's going to fucking happen soon.
Mm.
And then it doesn't. That's when it really gets me and it's ramping you up and ramping you up. It doesn't do it much, but it's subtle enough for me to be affected by it.
Yeah.
Because, once again, I'm a massive pansy. And the real kick in the teeth, though,
Mm.
is the end, where it just goes for the jump scare. And it's like, oh, come on. You could have had something
Mm.
different. We've had films like this before.
Yeah.
I won't name any names because I don't want to give away names, but there's been films like this where they've ended very similarly, and you're being ramped up and you're put on edge and you're feeling really tense, and then all of a sudden it's oh that was it. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Then you go back on it and watch it again. You're like, I don't even know what I was worried about. If it was fucking, there are a couple of films that I can name now, where we've reviewed one of them as well. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if we want to give that all away.
I won't give that away, but there's one where it works really fucking well, and it's not a jump scare. It is creepy. It is foreboding, and you're like, get me the fuck out. I can't wait for this DVD to stop because this is scaring the shit out of me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
But I didn't get that from this. It was
yeah.
a bit of a kick in the teeth as, oh, it's a jump scare. Oh, come on, guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's going to really affect if I watch it ever again. But I liked what they did with it. I thought it was quite clever.
Yeah.
I thought it had an idea there, and it played well within the world that it lived in.
Yeah. I think that's fair enough. Yeah. Okay. I was nearly going to start talking, and it was just like, I'm going to just go off on one, aren't I? But, no, okay, cool. Right. Well, then, let's move on to you, Mr. B.
Yes.
What about you? What did you think of it?
Okay, lay the cards on the table straight away. I
Yes.
liked it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I didn't feel that it was gimmicky because I thought it stuck to its guns. Right? It started off from a point of view and it stayed in that point of view.
It didn't do Chronicle and
No.
suddenly find a reason to throw the camera about.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
It stayed on that thing and it jumped out of the conversation to be like doing the research.
Yeah.
What I really liked about it was it went to actual sites. And it actually, because you get films like this, they do computer stuff. It has like Gurgle as a search engine, you know,
Yeah.
or they, you know, it's an Ipple pod I'm listening to. No, they actually went to things like proper YouTube, and they had proper Scott. I mean, we know that noise, that chimes that come in with it,
boom, 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 boom.
and I like that.
Yeah.
Now,
Microsoft Bong.
yeah, Microsoft Bong. I've got to tell you, this film got a little bit too interactive for me at one point, right?
Okay.
I watched this on the Xbox.
Oh, right.
So I'm sitting there, and it's coming to the climax of the film, and it's building up, it's ramping up, and you see it going on, and it gets really frantic. And as it got to the thing and it closed off, all of a sudden, a notification came up on my fucking Xbox. And for a minute, I'm like, I'm expecting to see the name of the person.
Want him to contact you.
Yeah, exactly. Now, you see, the filmmakers, they could have done that, actually. They could have had a little agreement with Microsoft and said, look, if we put this out on the Microsoft network, can we please do this with it so that as you finish watching the film, it brings up a notification on your fucking Xbox.
Will you accept this call?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that's what happened to me, and it's like all it came up was with the controller, the batteries on your controller are running low. But just for a second, honestly, I really got a bit concerned. And I'm watching this at night. It's like all I've got is a lamp on in the sitting room, so all the main lights are off.
Yeah.
And I've got like the fucking curtains open on the garden, so it's pitch black out there.
Suddenly the curtains get drawn.
Exactly. This is it. It was like, I'm drawing these fuckers now. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
The film itself, though, I like I say, I like the fact that it stuck to its guns and it stayed from one point of view, and you saw as much as that one person was allowed to see, and you didn't see anything else that was going on. You didn't, it was like they come out, and for me, it was a really realistic way of the conversation being conducted online. They did it really well. The kids themselves.
Your view is restricted as well at some point.
Exactly.
As well, isn't it?
Exactly. You're only seeing, you're only seeing from your point of view.
Their pop-ups. Yeah.
And I've had plenty of conversations online where I've sort of like done that, gone off, quickly tapped on a site to look at something.
Yeah.
It's like when I'm like recording from home, like when I was doing that, and we'd mention something, I'd pull up a website and we'd still have the chat thing going on. So it's all very familiar to me. And I thought this was good. They've studied it. They haven't done something like, the film Hackers, where they talk about some really shit computer as if it's like the next big thing. And you're sitting there like, no, sorry, but even back then,
oh my god, it's a 286 DX2.
Yeah, or they just, or you see them when they're erasing something, it goes pixel by pixel. It's just like, fuck off.
It has whole 8 megabytes of RAM.
Exactly. And it would like the feed would be slightly interrupted by pauses of really bad bandwidth.
Yep.
Stuff
Bandwidth
like this.
drops. Yeah.
Yeah, and that they did that really, really well.
Yeah, Cat's got your internet.
Yeah, Cat's got your internet. So I liked the whole the creepiness of beginning as well when they have the extra channel appear and it's got nobody reacting with them, nothing like that at all. There's that slight sense of foreboding about that.
Yeah,
and then slowly that extra channel starts to interact with them.
Yes,
and by the time it's got to where they should be switching off, it's too late because it's already proved that if you do that, you shouldn't have unfriended me. You shouldn't have done that.
No, that's right.
And then it makes real on the threat.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they are stuck in this game because they know that if they do log off, something really terrible is going to happen.
Yeah.
But they've also got the thing of something terrible is going to happen anyway.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'll get to my bit in a minute, but yeah, I there's a lot of moments like that where you kind of think you can see them trapped by their own technology. They're trapped by their own secrets and lies as well.
Exactly, and the way that each of those characters gets disassembled from being what is, you don't realise that these were the people that are actually involved in the bullying that was going on. And then slowly pieces of this are slowly revealed to you.
Yes.
So your point of view of those characters changes.
Yes.
And your...
I asked...
Yeah, go on.
Because I watched it and then thinking about it, I thought, okay, this needs a little bit of history for the way that they were offed in this movie. And I've just thought about the blender thing because I thought that was so very... It didn't really fit at the time I was watching it. But would that be related to getting... Was it Laura drunk?
Yes.
So that would be...
the guy
that has a nice little lead into why he had that blender, why he was hurt by the blender, because he made the drink for her, which got her drunk and then off her face.
Yeah, that's the bit that I think Commode was talking about with the teen slasher idea, is that all the deaths were ironic.
Well, I take it the guy who had the, I think it was an electric toothbrush in the eye, right? I take it he was the one that was doing the filming.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, and that was the thing. That the one that was kind of spreading all the rumors and the lies and telling Laura to go kill herself was the one that died from drinking the bleach at the very beginning.
Right.
Clean her mouth out.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
okay.
There was an irony to all the deaths, and even Blair, because Blair, when she goes, she disappears, and then you just get that kind of glimpse of her coming in off the left hand side, but this time coming in a shot screaming, which is basically a mirror of what goes on in the YouTube video when she's at the very end going tee hee hee.
Really?
Yeah, because that's why she says, you're not, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and the reveal is actually the YouTube video ends with her in the shot going,
yes,
oh, Laura, what a fucking, oh shit, Laura, what have you done? And then basically she dies in the film, and does the same thing. You see her disappear.
But I thought that was the spirit of the girl that died that came at her over the top of the thing.
No. You see the screen go flump, 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 and she disappears, and then she comes back in screaming into the shot, and then that's where it ends, which is essentially the same thing that happens in the YouTube video, except instead of screaming, she's obviously laughing.
Yeah.
But it's the same deal. It's the irony of the video essentially giving you the clues of how they're going to peg it.
Right.
That makes it a lot better. I thought that it was just there where Darren was talking, and it just popped in my head about the blender, and there was a reason for that blender, because watching it, I didn't get that.
No, but that was the whole point. It's the Freddy Krueger teen slasher thing. It's the irony death. It's, you watch too much TV, bitch. Bang, she goes into the telly. It's that kind of whole. It's that whole thing. That sort of slasher. Was it Final Destination thing that people die with a certain level of irony to the whole thing.
So the gun one.
Wasn't that because he was?
He didn't stop her with the gun?
No, he didn't stop her with the gun. No, the whole thing, because he shot himself. He shot himself, and that was basically just because he was just not playing the game anymore. So it didn't. That's the thing that throws you off, because he just goes, "Oh fuck it, I've had enough. I'm not going to do this." And then
Yeah.
because he doesn't, and because he refuses to play anymore, the ghost just goes, "Right, fuck it, kill yourself, bang, done." That's the only one that's out. That's the only one that's wrong.
Surely that's got to do with
I mean,
the video of her shooting herself on the playground.
oh, I suppose so. I mean, I guess you got.
Actually, yeah.
I don't know if he was the one running towards her, or shouting, or filming that bit of her shooting herself.
Maybe, yeah.
I mean, I'd have to go back and watch that, but as I just got the feeling that's the red herring death that throws you off the scent. But now you mention it, actually, there was a male voice on the camera of the thing shooting herself. In fact, I think it probably was him filming that.
Weren't they actually telling her to stop and put the weapon down?
Yeah, put the gun down.
Yeah.
There you go. Oh well, there you go. See, problem solved.
It's like an onion, many layers.
Yeah, yeah, but
Small onion, maybe.
yeah, I want to ask you while you're on, Elton, before we carry on with Darren's, how many potatoes?
Oh, definitely 3,
Yeah,
Out of
5.
3 out of 5. Oh, there you
3
go.
out of 5. Well, there you go. It's just all, yeah. Was
It
there any?
did get me. I have to say, it did honestly get me.
Mm.
And I wasn't expected. I thought I would come out of it going, "Oh, that's just a stupid teen movie that really shouldn't have been made." But
Yeah.
I did come out of it going, "Do you know what? That was all right."
Mm.
Apart
Okay.
from the last jump scare. But now I thought that was the ghost.
No,
But
that's
now you say that was her. Oh, okay, that's different.
yeah, yeah, because she comes in and she screams, and that's when the thing goes off. And that's essentially what happens in the video. She comes in at the very last minute and giggles, and that's what basically dooms her. So there you go. Have you got anything else, Dal? Sorry, because we just jumped in and we just went off down a diagonal tangent.
No, that's fine. That's fine. No, only that I think this is the first time me and Mark Commode have actually agreed on something. So
No, well, he liked Baby Driver. He's seen it 3 times.
I like Baby Driver
Well,
too.
there you go.
Oh fuck me, it's 2 things.
There you go.
Christ, what's happening to me? How did it come to this?
See, you're getting older, mate. That's
Where
what
did I
it
get
is.
to this point?
You're getting older. You're falling into the old man
I
routines
certainly am.
of liking good films. Right, okay. Sorry. For me, this film really worked for me, and then really didn't. Initially, when they all 5 of them, or all 4 of them to start with, and they're all like, "Yo, what's up? Oh, bitch," blah, blah. And I'm just like, "Oh, fuck! I hope it's not going to be this."
Yeah.
Really hope it's not going to be this, because there's an element of it which I'm kind of hearing in kids outside, and and Katie's getting a bit of it kind of going on with that, and she said this and I said that and they said this and I said that, and I'm like, what? And they're like, what? And I'm like, what? It's like all that kind of stuff, and I'm like, oh god, that's what it's going to be like all the way through this film. Fucking kill them all now. But and then it does we're going to have sexy time on the videos, and it's like, oh god, here we go. This is going to be one of those really shite teen horror films where everything is done by the numbers. Where it turns, for me, is essentially what was said in those reviews, which is that moment when you realise not only are you watching the story, but effectively you're part of it. Because they can't give up. They can't hang up on the Skype. And not because they don't want to, because the thing is, Blair looks up the thing on the creepypasta site, and the first thing that comes up is, don't answer the call from the spirit. And she doesn't know what she's getting into when she responds, and you're like, oh, fuck, that's it, you're doomed. But the thing is, all the answers are right there on that page. And I found myself sitting there going, no, stop scrolling. Let's just read that bit.
Yeah.
Stop scrolling. Just read that bit. And then I realised, because I'm sitting there watching it on the computer, and I'm like, no, just stop scrolling. Stop. Fucking just go back. And then when that got to that point, I'm suddenly like, you're complicit. You are part of the story in terms of you're involved, and your involvement in the way you're viewing it is the way that the character's viewing it. So it's a very clever mechanic. The thing I really appreciated, though, and again, it's more because of just what's going on right now. Lisa's got herself her first mobile phone for her birthday. Katie's got one, and she's joined up with WhatsApp and a couple of other things. And she's just joined Facebook. And me and Carol are like, any minute now, the shoe's going to drop with one of her friends, and it's all going to go horribly wrong, and we're going to have to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm already like that anyway. And when all this shit starts kicking off, I'm just watching it in terms of not that it's a horror film, but there's a certain reality to the whole thing. You're sitting there going, why didn't you just fucking hang up? Why didn't you just fucking hang up? Just fucking hang up now. Just fucking hang up now. All of you, just get the fuck out of the house. Just go. Close the doors. It's the Amityville thing. Just get the fuck out of the house.
Exactly.
There is blood coming down the stairs, Fred. Get the fuck out of the house. Yeah. And as soon as I started finding myself thinking like that, and not thinking you're all irritating, horrible people, I realised that the film had done something which most found footage films don't, which is they made the found footage mechanic actually work for it. And it's doing what found footage is supposed to do, which is involve you. You know, Blair Witch tried it and kind of worked, but then, you know, as my dad famously said, you know, when you're being chased by something through the woods and you're carrying a 40-pound camera, throw the fucking camera in the bush and keep going. But in this, the mechanic is the thing that's delivering the monster to you, and you can't hang up. And the fact it is all tied in with cyberbullying and all this kind of thing. You know, something which 4 or 5 years ago I wouldn't have given a shit about. I'm like, yeah, okay, someone's had a really bad video on YouTube done for them and they're overreacting. But in the last year, especially, so many things have come up in the news with people being scared and bullied and hounded and groomed, and all these kind of scare stories are coming up. And so it just added that little extra frisson of realism to the whole thing. And it's like, actually, this is quite disturbing, but not in a scary way. I'm not sitting there being scared. I'm just sitting there going, wow, I'm involved. And when it gets to the whole thing of them all telling lies about each other and having to reveal it, so never have I ever said this, never have I ever done that, never have I ever been here, and never have I said that. Suddenly it's like you go, well, what if by this point I'm like, what if I was in that position and someone asked me something about whatever? Like, for example, I'll give you a good example, and it's like one of those cringy moments.
Yeah.
Where, you said something to someone years ago, and then all of a sudden it comes back years and years later to bite you on the arse. And one of the things was when me and Carol first started going out, and it's like, started going out, and she was talking about, like, oh, I've never broken a limb, I've never broken this, never broken that. And I made some comment trying to say that I'd broken my legs. And I don't know why I said it, but I just came out with this story and it just blurted out of me. And this was when we were still, like, not even going out. We were still working together. And I just forgot all about it. Cut to 25 years later. Right? 25 years later. Now we've gone out, married, got kids, completely forgotten about the story. Suddenly, in the middle of a dinner table, round my parents, she brings the story up about me breaking my legs. And my dad's like, he's never broken a bone in his life. And Carol's just like, what? And then she then proceeds to...
My marriage is a sham.
Exactly. She then proceeds to explain that thing to Dad. Dad then looks at Mum and goes, can you believe this? I'm involved, he broke... What did we do? Did we get him to the hospital, Jen? Did we get him to the hospital? And I'm just sitting there like, may the world eat me now. But what started off as a silly sort of I'm boasty McBoast face, sort of 20-year-old bloke in a tea room talking to someone he's never going to meet or see ever again or anything, suddenly turns into coming back round. When it got to the never have I ever bit in the film,
Yeah.
I'm sitting there going, "Oh fucking hell! I've been here. I've done this. No, I'd rather the ghost stuck my face in a blender."
Yep.
And
In fact, I'll do it.
in fact, hold on, let me beat this for you. And so, I think that was the thing. It was more the reality elements of it, the things that were real, rather than the supernatural stuff. That and the kills weren't none of them really bothered me. Nothing like that ever bothered me. It was just that, and the jump scare at the end was just. But it was just that whole thing of there was rings of truth to the whole thing all the way through. Where I'm just sitting there going, "Wow! If this was a thriller, or if this was sort of like Don't Get Off, like Phone Booth. Have you seen Phone Booth?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
With Colin Farrell.
Kiefer Sutherland.
And Kiefer Sutherland, yeah, exactly. That whole thing of you're in a situation and you could easily walk away from. You might get away with it, but you've got to basically bare your soul to survive. I'm just sitting there thinking, oh God, oh God. Now that makes it sound like I really enjoyed the film. I didn't. I admired it, and there were lots of bits of it that made me cringe, and kind of, oh God, this has got some. Oh God, no. But on the other hand, I found all the characters extremely fucking irritating, and then the more and more of things where Blair is gone from Little Miss Perfect to suddenly, oh, actually she's done this and done this and done this, and actually she's not innocent at all. By the end of it, you're like, Christ on a fucking cracker! They're all arseholes, a lot of them.
Yeah, screwing each other over.
Exactly, every single one of them. I mean, I found it funny that the guy with the gun was threatening a ghost. Once they knew that they had a ghost, once they knew they were being haunted by an actual ghost, and he's standing there going, "Come on in, I'll get you!" Oh, all like this sort of thing. It's like,
but that's
dude.
the bravado of teenagers on screen.
Yeah, I know.
In front of they're just bullshitting it up for mates,
Yeah.
and it's not a case of I'm going to. It's puffing out the chest and brooding up the feathers.
Yeah. I guess. I mean, I think the whole thing just had a feeling of like a reality TV show where you're sitting there watching 3 or 4 people that you've been following for the last hour, and then suddenly someone comes out and says, "Oh, by the way, I took a shit in your bed." And you're like, "You shouldn't have said that." you kind of, and you just sitting there cringing all the time.
Yeah.
And that I kind of appreciated, but for the rest of it, I just thought, you are all irritating, and the kills weren't scary, and that sort of stuff wasn't really bothering me at all.
Yeah.
Didn't really work for me at all on that sort of front. So I'm with that cinema score that C. It's like it's both really good in places and really, really good in places, and on the other hand, really piss poor. I mean, I wouldn't say don't watch it if you've never seen it before. I think it's worth watching because I think it's the only found footage film that I've actually seen that genuinely works. I mean, genuinely works. When that moment when the kid with the blender, when he first starts off and it's like suddenly the camera switches on for Billy 227, and it's like, where is that? And then you realise it's looking at the back of his head.
Yep.
And it's like, oh, that's not good.
No.
Yeah, oh fuck off! I'm thinking about that now.
A bit like that camera that's just come on the appearing.
Up. I'm not even doing it. Not even turning the screen back on.
You sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
You
Very sure, actually.
You sure?
No, not playing your game.
You're not playing it? Okay. You sure?
Yep. I can't. No, thank you.
Okay.
I'm in a house all on my own. Fuck you.
Are you?
Yes, I am. Please stop.
Okay. That's terrible. I wouldn't want to be in my house on my own with that sort of thing. But, yeah, there you go. So,
can I just go back to the gun bit, please?
Yeah.
another reason for him to be waving it around is so you could get that gun kill later on. So the gun just doesn't come out of thin air.
What was that? Elton? Well, we appear to have lost Elton.
You fucker. You fucker.
That's for the fucking dentist last week, motherfucker.
That was my story.
Yeah, I know, but he played the drill. And do you know what?
Oh,
I was listening to the cast last week to double check that it was all going through fine. And then that moment came up and I had to sit and listen to that. Listen to hear what he said when my headphones were off.
Yeah.
So just enjoy that. I hope you enjoyed that, Elton.
Yes.
Yeah.
I deserve it.
Yeah. Yeah, don't worry. If I could have turned the volume off and just done a picture of the back of your head, I would have done. Trust me.
Oh, that would have been fucking creepy, man.
I just couldn't turn the microphone off. Otherwise, I would have done. Anyway, carry on. What were you going to say?
I can't remember. Oh, the gun. The
Yes.
gun being waved around. You need to have the gun for the gun kill. And so him waving it around is just a way of saying, look, there is a gun in this film. It is present. It is with this guy. And it just doesn't appear out of nowhere. Otherwise, if he was killed after the lady showed the sign of he will kill himself and he was shot, it would come out of nowhere. It just wouldn't make any sense.
No, I suppose not. No, I mean, I do get it. It was just, like they say in the reviews. I mean, there was some unintentionally hilarious moments, and just things where you just kind of go, "What? Just what? Why? Why are you doing that? What's going on there? Stupid person is stupid."
And there weren't any lines in it like, I'll blow you, do the fingering.
Yeah, well, exactly, yeah. But the thing like
Nothing thinks that low nowadays.
No one would sink that low. But the shit like the chat roulette when she's like in panic mode and then she's jumping on, and there's like people going, "Oh, I'm in trouble. You're in trouble," and it's like
Not a single cock.
No, that's what made it unrealistic, frankly. But well, there was actually a bunch of cocks on there, but it was just interesting that it was just like the chat roulette thing was just like one of those things where you sit there going, "Why have you gone to chat roulette? What on earth possessed you? Of all the things you could go on, you could go on any. You could even disconnect. You could even just go on a second Skype chat. You could have done anything. You
could have just leant out the window and called for help.
Exactly. Or considering your bloody computer's Wi-Fi, how about picking it up and walking out of the house? Just walking somewhere. But anyway, no. So so I think it was an admirable attempt, and I think there was a lot of interesting things in it, but it lacked real genuine scares towards the end, especially when it got a bit, like I say, teen slashery.
There is something to be said about parents nowadays, though, with their kids having the phones, like what you're going through at the moment. I'm going through as well, and the big bad world out there, which my boys' friends, they all seem very sensible.
Yeah,
they all seem lovely, lovely people.
Yeah,
but I'm sure there's going to be an incident at some point, somewhere along the line, and that really fucking worries me because it's something I don't know, because I wasn't a kid and went through that. Yeah.
I think the thing right now is all you can do is educate them and try and limit them. I mean, it's like when if Katie, when she got her phone, she wanted to be on Skype, she wanted to be on Snapchat, she wanted to be on Instagram, she wanted to be on WhatsApp, she wanted to be on Facebook, she wanted to be on Twitter, and she wanted to be on bloody Periscope and all these other things. And I'm like, no, one social media at a time, only if you've got friends who are on it, and secondly, only if you got good friends on it, not just randoms that you just meet in school who all say, "Oh, we're all on Periscope." It's like, no. I want, if you're going on there, you're going on there to talk to certain people, and so Snapchat's not. She hasn't got Snapchat. She's got Instagram, but she's got Instagram with Carol as a second account. She's got Facebook, but I'm all over the rights and restrictions to that. And she hasn't got Twitter, and she hasn't got Periscope. She's got WhatsApp, but again, in terms of WhatsApp, that's more like phoning and texting, really. And again, me and Carol are both part of a WhatsApp group there, so we're all part of that. And it's like, and it's just, I can just see it. She had a problem with a friend in primary school, but she's not got that now because she's in secondary. But I just thought, can you imagine if that problem had happened and she was in on a Periscope chat or a Snapchat with this mental? It would have just been insane. And I just no. And then Katie wanted to do a YouTube channel, and I'm like, don't do a YouTube channel if you don't know what you're doing. Because all you're going to do is you're going to say something stupid. It's going to get shared all over the place, and you'll hate it. You'll hate the reason it even exists. And as soon as it's up, it can't go away. And
that's why I was very reluctant to let Jacob use Snapchat.
Oh no, I wouldn't let him anywhere near that. It's bullying central. It's the whole thing of once the Snapchat's gone up, it can be copied, but it will disappear. So people can shoot shit at you, and you won't have any proof that it's happened. So that's why Snapchat's been kicked right to the curb.
I don't blame you.
But yeah, so it was things like that in this film that made me go, oh God, I really no, God Almighty, no, fuck no. But I wasn't doing it because it was a ghost. I was doing it because there was a person on YouTube being embarrassed, and I was just thinking, well, if he's like me and he got no fucking shame left, it's like, well, I don't care, whatever. I don't really care. But but for a 13-year-old girl, it's going to be like the worst thing that's ever happened to you ever. If suddenly 1,000 people out of nowhere just go, "You're the worst. You suck." Exactly. How do you deal with that? So that part of Unfriended really did work, because you do get that terror and that sort of sinking realization of what have you actually done? What have you put out there?
What have you kicked off?
Exactly. I mean, I'm sure we've all been in flame wars before and said things that we shouldn't have done, or had things happen on the internet that we really wish we could have just walked away from. And that's the one bit in Unfriended that I think worked really well. Like you say, Darren, it represented so many things well.
Yeah, it did.
That actually the horror bit was really kind of secondary by the end. That was kind of not the thing that really mattered, and it almost didn't really work. It was just a reason to have people have a bit of a meltdown online.
And think about it as well. I mean, I personally experienced sort of like bullying myself. So, and I mean, think about it hard, right? If you ever experienced that at school, think about how much in your mind what you imagined doing to the bullies.
Yeah. Exactly.
And, be honest about it. It's, you weren't thinking, oh, I'll give them they're obviously decent human beings. No, you wanted them, that's
dead.
it. You wanted them done away with. That's it. You think that, in your anger in that generates from that fear. And it's that feeling of being, their actions kind of violating your rights as a human being. It's that, and you being powerless and knowing that the fear stops you just in case something else happens.
Yeah.
But, having that also in your head after the event, that fantasy of being able to do with it and causing them fear in return.
Yeah.
As a way of payback.
I mean, that's the thing. In some ways, I was right behind the ghost. I was like, thumbs up.
After a while, you are. It's...
Yeah. Play that game. Play it, bitch, because I'm going to make you fucking suffer.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. that's the interesting thing. I think that the villain is almost the protagonist. He's almost the hero.
Yeah.
The villain is the victim, and so you find out by the end that you're actually just watching everyone who deserves it get their comeuppance. And that's what I'm saying. It's not the scares. It's the reality of the rest of the situation that worked. I think.
I think it's especially if you've been in that bullied situation that it kind of resonates on that. It says something to you. Is that speaks to that fucking 12-year-old sort of like boy inside your 12-year-old girl who experienced that, or however old you were, 13.
It's all right. Don't
8.
It's fine.
Yeah. It's that because I think something there's always something that will stay with you from that experience, and something like this, a film like that, I think knows how to connect. With that part of you.
Exactly, yeah. So, So, I don't know. I mean, I guess for me, it's kind of not a thumbs up, not a thumbs down. Certainly not a thumbs down. It's not rubbish. It's just supernatural elements didn't really do it for me, I guess. But anyway, right. But what else? What did our listeners think? What did our feedbackers think? Well, shall we find out?
Let's do so.
Let's roll the jingle.
Now put your hands up, here online, doing real fine. We're doing our podcast thing. It's called Black Dog, it's not like a joke. Is anyone there listening? What do you think of our show? Let us know by MP3 or email. Just get it to us, it ain't no fuss. We'll even read your Twitter rings. Cause if you like us or you hate us, send some feedback in. Got a geek report to raise and put some feedback in. If you think my voice is sexy, put some feedback in. Man, we really like it if you put some feedback in.
Right, okay, so it's feedback time. So let's get some feedback on the go. And the first one coming through from the Black Dog Facebook group, which is, Black Dog Podcast webpage, which is blackdogpodcast.com, sending through the... yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? Is from our Swedish chef, Andrew Vetuka, the Swedish chef. He put the cheeky in the bowl.
Oh no, I've been offended.
I turned the scapy and put the scapy on and look at the friendy.
Would you like to hear my Sean Connery impression?
Yes.
My name is Bond, James Bond.
Anyway, so Andrew, the Swedish chef Whittaker, and he writes, Dear Black Dog Gang, at last, having a bit of free time coincides with a movie I've just watched. Given that it's all about social and technological development in human history, just about every social and technological development in human history has had the horror treatment at one time or another. It was inevitable that we'd get the Skype spook story before too long. There are a number of strikes against this before it even starts. 1. Teen target audience. 2. Reliance on the current fads and trends. Just what you were saying there, Elton, about it feeling dated before you start. And 3, filmed on webcams and phones. Maximum cheapness, minimal artistry. So given that, it's surprising that it does as well as it does. I feared the worst when it opened out with a couple of kids threatening to Skype sext one another, but then it actually got a nice bit of misdirection. That was actually a nice bit of misdirection. Given the static situation and the fixed camera positions, the movie does a good job of holding the audience's attention. The limitations of the framing device make it seem like an exercise in film school class, but if it were, I'd give it a solid B+. In short, this is much better than I had feared, and perhaps better than it has any right to be. I wouldn't watch it again, and I'm not over-fussed about the inevitable up-and-coming Unfriended 2, but I will look out for future projects by director Levin Gabradze with some interest. Love and open sandwiches, which by definition aren't sandwiches. Andrew, the Swedish chef Whittaker.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Thank you very much, sir, for the feedback. I think that kind of mirrors our thing.
Remember, Highlander, you called me.
That's the
I could
Swedish.
keep, I could
Swedish
keep
Sean,
this up all night.
Swedish Sean Connery. Thank you. What's going on the Red October?
Oh, look, I'm in a bloody big submarine.
Right. Well, anyway, thank you very much for that, Andrew. I think you're in the same boat as us, apart from the Swedish chef, Sean Connery bit.
And it was then I remembered my Charlemagne.
Let armies be the trees and the birds in the sky. Anyway, so yeah, now you're drinking your tea. I'm going to ask you to read out some feedback. Thank you very much for that, Andrew. I think we're in the same boat. All being surprised that it was better than it had a right to be.
Yeah.
But anyway, go on, Dal. So who do you have next?
Okay, we have Gareth Thomas.
Ah,
Who
the
writes
Proton.
The Proton, the man himself. The
Okay.
Positive.
Always positive.
Indeed.
There you go.
Indeed.
What does he have to say about it?
And he writes, and his mail's been told, who needs friends?
Mm-hmm.
Dear friends of Black Dog, I trust this email finds you all well with your Facebook statuses reading well. I had heard of this film before and missed it when it came out. The premise of the film is quite an interesting one, with social media dominating people's lives and people being unable to live without Facebook, Snapchat and many other mediums I don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
The film actually had me hooked. I wanted to watch it till the end to see what happened. There was a lot going on at the start and the typing was annoying a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it was the version I was watching. All the characters were unlikable and not true friends at all.
No,
they weren't.
no.
And I have to say, seeing as the victim was a friend of all of these people, I just wonder if she'd been up to the same bullying type stuff herself.
Yeah, there's a lot of that kind of ambiguity where you're kind of a little unsure as to who's actually a friend of anyone.
Indeed.
Sorry.
That's right. So, but there were a couple of things that made me chuckle. The free cams alert and Ken with the food blender. That, yeah, pop-up advert. See, again, great stuff. A possession involving social media or the internet is an interesting idea, and I thought they did a pretty good job. It was the right length, and I enjoyed it. Cheers. Gareth the Proton Thomas. Friend face works along with the same principle as a cold or plague, but it's not disgusting germs that friend face spreads. It's friendship.
Right, there you go. Positive, upbeat message.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You say so.
No, thank you very much for that, sir. Face friend. Yes.
Yes.
There you go.
Would you like to friend my face?
How many times has that worked, Al?
None.
Nice.
0 puncture.
Right, okay, so moving on. Thank you very much for that, Gareth. And Elton, who do you have first?
Okay, I have Cole the Bastard Hurley.
The Bastard Hurley. The generation internet.
Oh, yes.
The
I generation.
The I generation. So what does he have to say about this then?
He says, Dear Lee, Darren, and Elton, I think that being the youngest person among the collective Black Dog feedbackers, I'm probably going to have more of a unique look at everything that's going on in this movie. Mm-hmm. I've met pretty much every person in this movie, honestly, at one point or another in high school, and I wish I could say that I was exaggerating, honestly.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that's right. I legitimately wouldn't be surprised if at least one of the people I knew from high school or my first semester at college did many of the things portrayed in this film.
Wow.
Outside of, all the supernatural murder suicides. Anyway, the film itself is actually really accurate, if a bit of a cliche. There are a few decent moments here and there. Specifically, the fat kid finds the camera pointed at his back. And I really liked that sequence. That was interesting. So yeah, this one's was all right. Nothing special, honestly, but I'm sure it's high art compared to the last week's shit show. Anyway, Take care, guys. Cole. P.S. Rest in peace, Chester Bennington. May he ride eternal and all shiny and chrome.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Well, yeah, kind of sadly ironic, given that it's believed that he committed suicide, given the film's subject matter as well.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. Actually, I was going to say this at the end, but I might as well say this now. I mean, I don't normally go off on a sort of like, well, you know what, protect yourself. Don't wet yourself. Zammo just says, don't just say no and all that kind of stuff. But given the subject matter and given what's just been said here by Cole, thank you very much for that, Cole. If you are cyberbullied, or we've been talking about the fact that our kids are getting into all this shit as well, and so I've just looked up a few websites, and just if you know anyone who's getting into cyberbullying or getting bullied online or anything like that, there's plenty of organisations out there. Like antibullyingpro.com, childline.org.uk will get help your kids out. There's bullying.co.uk. There's internetmatters.org. Just go get help. Don't be bullied online by idiots.
Exactly. There's a whole slew of sites you can go to. Places that will offer you help.
Yes.
For this kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's not such a dead end.
No.
You think you might not be, beyond help with this sort of thing, but that's not true.
Yeah, and if you go to somewhere like like one of the TV channels, like channel4.com has for viewers help and support under bullying and harassment. There's all that. There's sites. There's information there and sites you can also check out. So yeah, I didn't want to get into sort of dropping tons and tons of links and helplines and all that kind of stuff for a podcast that's ostensibly about taking the piss, but yeah.
Sometimes we have to get serious with matters like this,
and especially as Cole was saying. He's gone and he's encountered these idiots. He's seen people like this. So bloody hell, I'm sure having a bit of help wouldn't have been a bad thing.
I think we had one person on the site who was going to put feedback in, but I think the film has
disturbed them a bit too much.
Exactly.
Yes, and to that person, I'm not going to name names just in case they don't really want it all blurted out across the internet, because that would just compound matters.
Indeed.
But I hope if there's any information there you might find useful, or if you just don't want to talk about the film, that's fine. There you go. So let's move on. Thank you very much for that, Cole. And like I say, I might repeat some of those links at the end. On to my next bit of feedback. Which is Bob Haleman Lamont, who this recording is currently languishing in hospital because he's had some kind of weird infection thing going on his foot. So he's in the hospital right now, and we hope that he recovers and does well, and
Indeed.
He's back to himself and get back in that fucking archive. It's a bloody mess. Fucking Black Dog Archive's a mess. He tried to put up some shelves this weekend.
Did he?
Yeah, that's never a good idea.
Yeah, hurry up and shut the door. It's fucking drafty.
Yeah.
Come on.
Just because you're in hospital doesn't mean you can shirk on your duties, mate. So
yeah.
Get on back. But anyway, yeah. But anyway, Bob writes, on Skype, everyone doesn't give a shit when you scream. Dear Lee, Darren and Elton, just a short piece of feedback from me this week. As I said on the Facebook group, I did some DIY in the archives. There was only a minimal amount of blood loss, and nevertheless, it isn't easy to type when your fingers are warped with thick bandages. Luckily, the hospital wing of the archive has good Wi-Fi, so I can review this week's Netflix roulette film, Unfriended. Now, I'm going to be upfront with this. I think this is a shit film. But it's not the same type of shit as Jack and Jill, which is shit in every conceivable way. This film tried something new, but unfortunately what they managed to produce just wasn't very good. So I can't get very mad at the film that tried to do something original but ultimately failed. The main problem with this film is that firstly, I think the film was far too long for what it was, which is essentially a long Skype call. Secondly, I think they missed a trick in having the video that caused the girl's suicide at the beginning of the film. It would have been made much better to reveal it further into the film to explain why this was happening to the characters. whereas having it at the beginning clued you into the fact that they were all a bunch of cunts. And speaking of which, lastly, I hated every last motherfucker in this film. Seriously, they were all all horrible human beings, and I therefore felt no sympathy or attachment to them whatsoever. I actually came up with a theory that they were all a part of the latest generation of the McAllister family from Home Alone, as they would fit in with that kind of family of cockends and cunts. There was a good idea in this film, and if you rearrange a few scenes and edited it down heavily so that it was something like 40 minutes long, it would make a decent episode of The Outer Limits or something, but it just doesn't work at feature length. I appreciate that the makers of this film were trying to do, but sorry guys, you just didn't stick the landing. Anyway, speak to you next time, lads. Bob Haleman Lamont, official and slightly black and blue archivist for the Black Dog podcast. P.S. Some say he's a glorified sound effect. Others say that he's a long-running joke from Are You Telling Me Porky's podcast that jumped ship to the Black Dog. All we know is he's called Mr. Owl. Which refers back to when we used to introduce Jim's Profanosauruses with a kind of we know him as the Stig intro.
Yes.
There you go. See?
Some say
he was born with no hands.
And others say he can fit an inordinate amount of Krabby's cream eggs inside his mouth.
Yes. Others say he can eat a donut without licking his lips. Yeah.
Some say his hair is made of butter.
Some say that he sees so fast that the whole world is dark.
Okay.
He beats light. Yeah, doesn't matter. Anyway, so thank you very much for that, Bob. And this email was sent before he ended up in hospital. So if you're listening to this in hospital, we hope you recover soon, sir. And we send you all best wishes. And whatever's going on with that foot, we hope it's cleared up pretty damn quickly.
Indeed.
Right. So thank you very much. And
Can I just say one thing on that feedback?
Sure.
About the reveal of the video.
Go on.
I think it may have worked further on in the movie. Imagine having a cold open just onto a Skype chat on this.
Yeah.
It may have worked better.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right. I think Bob's right. But it's that whole thing of as soon as you see the suicide video and as soon as you see the party video, I mean, it helps with, Blair feeling, Blaine or Blair or whatever her name was, feeling guilty, but it doesn't really help in terms of, making the mystery. But
it might have helped with, if you have let's think about it, a black screen, cold opening to a Skype chat, and then all of a sudden other windows pop up as you're working it out on what's going on. That may have worked a bit better.
Yeah, if the video of her embarrassing party stuff was going like in 10-second bursts, playing and stopping and playing and stopping. Yeah, I mean, there's a number of ways of doing it. I think I tell you what, I was actually more freaked out in terms of the creepy stuff. I was more freaked out by the creepy pasta page that they opened up with the person hanging in the middle of the room. It was just like, ugh. Creepypasta is not something you want to go reading at the middle of the night.
No.
So don't go to reddit.com/r/creepypasta. Don't do it, Elton.
I'm not going to do it.
Just don't. I know curiosity will get you. I know it will.
Yeah.
Not happening.
And also, don't answer the phone.
No, fuck off. I'm turning my phone off now. Fuck off.
Oh,
wait,
dear.
Turn the fuck right. Okay, there you go. Turned off.
Yeah.
No.
What no one knows is that online we've been between takes we've been helping Elton's potato count rise quite nicely with screen sharing. That's all we're saying.
It's working.
Yeah.
It's working.
Good. Can you hear that?
Please stop.
Sorry, man. You wait until the indeterminate weeks of horror. That'll do.
I know. Hopefully, my family will be here to cuddle me.
We'll be outside howling through your letterbox when we do American Werewolf. Right. Okay. So Thank you very much, that Bob. Hope you're feeling better soon. And Darren, who do you have next?
I shall just call that right up now, actually. And here we go. I have Alan Wilby.
Alan Wilby, okay.
Yes.
And what does Alan have to say?
And he sends a mail entitled Scary Skype Shit. And he writes, Hello, Lee, Darren, Jim and Elton. And of course, the feathered fiend, Mr. Owl.
Hoot.
I do hope he enjoyed his holiday after leaving us with that crap fest last week.
Yeah, he's still away,
Yeah, he is.
technically speaking.
I've heard of this film before, but had avoided watching it as it sounded pretty shit, to be honest. I'm not aware of any other film that has you looking at a computer screen for the entire time. And I didn't think this would work reading the pre-movie blurb, so I wasn't expecting very much going on with this film. Looking in on Skype calls and text messages from nearly 90 minutes was a clever and risky idea, and I thought surprisingly it did work for most of this film. The shocking YouTube video showing Laura's suicide and the fall from grace, shitty arse shot including... shitty arse shot included, and we've all been there. No.
Well,
She set the mood straight right off the bat very nicely. As you say that, I did actually... No, I'm not going there. No. It was a pool table incident.
I have never, ever shat myself on a pool table. Drop your fingers.
Not on a pool table.
Under a pool table?
I was laughing at my brother taking a shot, and then it suddenly went... And I'm like... And I just stopped, and then he killed himself laughing. Because I suddenly went into a dead run up the stairs.
Oh,
It was
my
like,
God.
oh.
Oh, dear.
Let's go.
Yep. I didn't realise I could leap so high. You know, it's just
He was like fucking...
get up them stairs.
Like Tom Holland.
Yep.
Spider-Man straight up those stairs.
2 steps and I was in.
Go on then, we carry on.
Right, okay. It was a little slow after this, but setting up the characters and their relationships attempted to get you to love or hate them. And once stuff began to get weird, I could feel the suspense building. Unfortunately, this film wasn't all that scary. It was definitely suspenseful and got pretty intense at some moments, but it didn't do much to terrify me. It definitely has a look of a found footage film through the Skype cameras, and there are not many found footage cliches to be found, and that made it much more bearable to watch. And I like the constant Skype call issues, including stuttering, freezing, screen tearing, and momentary disconnects.
Yeah.
Now, some of these were obviously by design, but gave a realistic effect. Surprisingly, for a horror film of an unknown cast, the performances were all done very well. I know all they had to do was sit in front of a camera and talk, but if it wasn't done right, it could easily have come off as obviously acting. But they were convincing enough to believe that they were actually going through this terror. They didn't cringingly annoy me either, as I thought that they would before watching the film. So with this film being limited to a single computer screen, I think the director and writers did a great job of maintaining the suspense right up until the end. Although I thought it ended a little abruptly and wasn't as shocking as I would hope for, but it still made somewhat of an enjoyable film. Will this computer screen focused type of film take off with its own genre? I don't think so. Mainly because after seeing the movie, there isn't really much more you could do with this style without rehashing the same basic plot. And with the sequel in the offing, I'm not sure they can pull it off again. Much like the first Paranormal Activity, the element of surprise is now gone. Overall, accompanied by a few beers, I did enjoy this film, and I may be alone here, but I'm quite happy to take my usual seat in the bunker of Shun. I look forward to the podcast episode as always. Cheers, Alan.
No problems, Alan. I don't think anyone's going to end up in a bunker this week. I mean, the reviews themselves were all split, and we're not exactly singing its praises. It's got some interesting stuff and interesting ideas. And I tell you what I was thinking about with that with listening to that feedback and also just thinking about the film in general, how many times have we, as viewers and listeners and that sort of thing, watched embarrassing YouTube videos?
Oh, God, yeah.
I mean, I've been sharing one around today. Let's be honest, last 24 hours with that poor bloke making the cheese and chili dip.
Oh, that one.
I mean, but, we're laughing at it. And then if you go to the actual YouTube page, 1 million people have watched that thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's like, on one hand, you're thinking, that's really funny, because it's like, existential angst in the form of a cooking program about cheese and chili dip. On the other hand, there's some poor sod who's had to do that as a job. And you're like, now, in the context of this film, you're like, God, I'm no better than those arseholes looking at the video of that lady passed out with a shitty arse.
Yeah. We're part of the problem.
Yeah.
I think with that, though, because you're not at the epicenter of it. Not saying it's right, but because you're not at the epicenter creating the problem, then you're more detached from it.
Fair enough, I guess. But, every time you find a video like that, and let's be honest, we've all found videos like that. You click share and like, and then you make some snarky comment and you share it on Twitter, or you throw it out on Facebook, or you post it on your blog, or you put it on Tumblr, or whatever. You're all part of the problem. You're all contributing to it. I mean, even that...
Yeah.
Do you remember that Star Wars kid? I mean, that's the classic one, isn't it?
Oh, the one who's doing the lightsaber.
Doing the Darth Maul stuff with a broom. I mean, it's just like... there but for the grace of God go I, and that, that's the thing. That's the one thing that Unfriended really brought to me was that reality of the situation being visited back upon the the people who did it in the first place.
I feel there needs to be a balance there, though, because for every video that's shared because you look at it and go, oh God, what a dumbass, there's also a video where you go, oh wow, that's so touching. So there is a balance there.
Yeah, I mean there is a balance, but one right doesn't make cancel out a bad one. I mean,
No, it doesn't. But I feel in this day and age of our technology, you need that bad for the good as well.
Yeah.
You need to watch some shit videos and to then disappear off and watch something heartbreakingly beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I just, I see things, on YouTube that are lovely and fantastic, and you go, absolutely thumbs up. But then you kind of, like I say, then you see something like a sort of, like a 60-year-old man trying to make I'm trying to make this video about like feeding a family for $6, and you're like, that's just hilariously sad. Or that bloke who goes around going and he's like, that's something he did in the 70s, and it's now come back to turn him into an international star, but for not the right reasons.
Or like you get a video of a bloke chasing a dog across a field,
going Fantan, Jesus Christ, and you either lean into that, or it turns your world upside down. I guess that's the power of the internet. That's the scary thing, not fucking ghosts. But anyway, right. Well, yeah. Anyway, so thank you for that. That was George, wasn't it? Who was that?
That was your one.
Was it my one?
That was yours.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't.
Was it?
No.
Who?
Oh, for God's sakes. Darren did his one. Did Alan?
Yep.
Okay.
Who did you?
It's my turn now, then.
There you go. So thank you very much for that, Alan. And now, Elton, shall we move on to George?
Yes. Okay.
you
I
go.
have George,
Cookie Man.
Cook.
Oh my God, the wheels have just come off
They did then, didn't they? Very real.
in a very real sense.
Please, no one share that. Please, no one share that.
I don't care. Share it all. I've told hundreds of people that I glued my arse shut, and I've freely admitted that I for a job I spent a whole week painting out Rob Lowe's balls. I've got no shame left to give.
Well, I think we've all admitted to debasing ourselves for the cause of entertainment in this podcast.
Exactly. None of us are coming out unscathed.
Nope.
No. So
there's dirt on every single one of us here.
You can't do anything to us that we haven't already done to ourselves. We're immune. But anyway, go on then, Elton.
Okay, right. George says his subject is unsubscribed. Greetings, Lee, Darren, Jim, Elton, and the evil mastermind, Mr. Owl.
Hoot.
Now, Darren, you have to hold up some hands, please.
Okay.
Okay, he's holding up. He's holding hands up.
I'm holding up hands.
Right.
Never ever rigged Netflix roulette.
I never rigged Netflix roulette.
No, his hands are still up.
Again, I posed a question to the jury. Why the fuck would I put myself through something like that piece of shit we watched the other week? Do you think on weekends I go to a fucking S&M club, right? And I go to a special room where they've got a video collection of shit movies, right? And I sit there in a fucking gimp mask watching these things. Do you think that's what I do on a weekend? I fucking don't.
Beating yourself to death with copies of Birdemic.
Yeah, exactly. Jesus Christ, people.
You do it to yourself, you do.
We'll get banned off YouTube now.
Yeah, that's what really hurts.
Honestly, I just... Fucking hell.
Anyway, the email continues.
Yeah.
Darren, get a finger down.
Put a finger down.
Anyway, I'll continue with this. I'm taking down 4 fingers and leaving 1 digit up. My middle one. Fuck you, Unfriended. This film was almost as upsetting as seeing a not safe for work video of of Elton and Mr. Owl.
Hoot.
Wow.
Well, I didn't put it up. No, I didn't put that video up at all. Darren?
Oh.
What's that?
Did you put the video up of Elton and Mr. Owl?
That was meant to be on the Patreon.
Oh, is that a Patreon thing? Oh, shit.
I didn't put up a video of Elton and Mr. Owl.
No?
Is it filmed,
Anyway,
is it
George
filmed from the
continues.
angle of being behind him? Hidden behind
fuck off, man.
behind some wooden slats. Is that what it was?
No, I think
Jesus
it's that really bright hallway that's right behind him right now with the door open.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Honestly, fuck off.
what's happened to that light?
I'm not saying this movie was intentionally stupid, but Adam threatens a ghost with a gun.
Yes.
And
he
Blair
does.
thinks that chat roulette is an emergency service. Was it just me, or were you all gutted when the ad popped up for free live cams and it wasn't an ad for Wix's instead?
Yes. Where's our YouTube Wix's videos nowadays? Oh,
The best part of this movie, apart from the credits, were the deaths of the annoying cast. But sadly, the final death of Blair was underwhelming. I will give this film bonus points, however, for depicting an involuntary bowel movement. You don't see that every day. Until we meet next, George, Cookie Man, cook.
Well, there you go. I think he's right though. You don't see that every day.
You do not.
No, you don't. So, yeah. Well, thank you very much for that, George. Thank you for your feedback, sir. Good feedback as always. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Darren's just calmed down. He hasn't from his chat roulette slight. he's put the table down, so that's good.
Yeah. I'm not going to do a table flip.
Yeah, fuck it. So, thank you very much for that, sir. So, we'll move on to our last bit of written feedback for this week, which is Fred Dr. Scumlubnow from LovecraftianScience.wordpress.com and some secret agency which has you bumped off for money. Anyway, anyway, Fred writes, "Hello, Black Dog crew. Hope all is well." Well, hello to you. I saw Unfriended once about a year ago on Netflix, so this is a re-watch for me. Didn't think of it much back then. After the tragedy of Jack and Jill, Unfriended did not seem that bad. However, I recently watched a few excellent modern-day horror films, Get Out, The Girl with All the Gifts, and Train to Busan. I've seen 2 of those, and I agree, they're excellent. I haven't seen Get Out yet, though I am planning on watching that this weekend. And anyway, these just put Unfriended to shame. Thus, it was difficult for me to review this film without any of the others in mind, but here you go. I found Unfriended very annoying with having to read some of the small text on the television screen, and yet, while annoying, it was also strangely interesting how the story unfolded through the text messages and video chats. In a way, this film is like the SpongeBob movie. It made with a specific target audience in mind, teens and young people. I couldn't help but think as an older person that if some of this shit started to happen, I would have just said, fuck this, get out of the chat room, turn the computer off, and even just end those established accounts. However, for many young people, the internet seems to be a far more important component of their social lives, and simply turning it off does not seem like an option. So, in the time when everyone has a camera and your smallest mistake can be placed on online, for literally millions of people to watch, Unfriended does that chilling and cautionary supernatural tale thing. However, in spite of the serious themes of peer pressure, cyberbullying, and the role of technology in our lives, the death by blender or death by curling iron scenes were just ridiculous. To sum up, while the concept of Unfriended was interesting, overall I found the film flat with genuinely unappealing characters. We'll never watch this lame film again, but hey, it wasn't Jack and Jill. Thank you, Black Dog, and looking forward to next week's film. P.S. Got butt call on Saturday morning from a colleague who did not realise he called. Heard him purchasing a lot of quick dry concrete for a job. Need to follow up on that one.
Was there any quick lime involved?
I don't know.
Well? No?
I don't know. I tell you. One day, we're going to launch that Patreon.
Yep.
And at the very top tier is going to be hire Dr. Scum for a single job. We'll just put it right at the top of the Patreon tree.
Yeah, just do it, man.
Small jobs undertaken.
Mm-hmm.
No questions asked.
Yes. No questions asked.
Anyway, thank you, Dr. Scum. Thank you, Fred. And yes, as I said before, if you want to read his blog, go to lovecraftianscience.wordpress.com. Right. Okay. So that's it with the written feedback. Thank you, everyone, for that. And now it's time to move on to the MP3 feedback. And our first piece of MP3 feedback. Well, it says here Gregory Madden, but is it Gregory or is it Greg and Gary? We don't know. Let's have a listen.
There will now be a short intermission.
Albatross! 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 Course you don't get bloody wafers with it!
Yeah, that is the Albatross song. Our Albatross song. The reason our Albatross song is because the MP4A that Greg sent through was 2 minutes and 35 seconds of pure silence, which we didn't think would be particularly enthralling for a podcast.
No.
I don't know what's happened there because it's 7 meg of something, but it's just there's no audio or anything at all. I don't quite understand.
Maybe it sort of like contains some sort of subliminal message.
Well, yeah, maybe if I listen to it all the way through and it will just say, "Don't put the phone down," or something like that.
All I know now is that I feel like eating beans on toast and going out and buying some garden furniture. I'm not quite sure that was the right sort of message he was trying to get across in that.
See, subliminal messages. Do it right or don't bother.
Could he have had the radio on at the time and
I don't know.
B&Q?
I don't know. There was absolutely nothing. Which does one thing. It proves that we don't listen to this feedback before we put it on.
No, No, we let it hit us in the face. Yes, we do.
So I don't know what happened there, Greg. Apologies. The file has obviously got some data in it, but it's just, I don't know what it is. Didn't come through, and Audition and Audacity didn't know what to do with it at all, and neither did the Microsoft Media Player. So apologies again. If you want to put your feedback up on the Facebook group, feel free. But yeah, sorry about that. So we'll just have to move on, I'm afraid, to our next bit of feedback, which is Whispering John Campion, who's got some thoughts on Unfriended.
Hello, Lee, Darren, and Elton, and bon vacances to Mr. Jim and Mr. L. As I said in the group, I think I'll be in the minority for this one, but I think Unfriended is pretty good, and certainly thematically very interesting. I think one of the things that horror has struggled with is working new technologies into its stories, and particularly in the modern era where you have almost constant connection to people who can call for help, people who can take HD video with a tiny computer that pretty much lives with them. But every so often there's something that comes along that takes that new technology and finds a way to use it. You have commonplace audio recording, say with the Stone tapes. You have the Blair Witch for camcorders, and you have Ringu and VHS for video players. The essential message of the vengeful spirit genre in which Unfriended is situated seems to be that old adage of be sure your sin will find you out. And the interesting question, I think, in Unfriended is how can that play out in a world where every youthful indiscretion is recorded and available to someone forever, and where extreme reaction to that is both immediate, almost expected, and inescapable in a constantly connected world. Unfriended embraces that connected world of the early 21st century wholeheartedly, enforcing an odd sort of dramatic unity in which all of the action is located on one computer screen. There are no awkward found footage or CCTV moments to break that up, or half-hearted departures into the quote-unquote real world because of studio notes. That's the film's great strength, and I think it's also certainly part of its weaknesses. You get quite long periods in the beginning of the film where you have long, entirely silent text chats. Gentlemen of a certain age, I think, will have found the text in those surprisingly difficult to read, and they do strain the viewer's patience a bit, I think. The curious thing about the film is that it's actually very difficult to watch it on a computer screen. We need a big screen to blow up the text and the icons so that we can follow the action ourselves. I think that's a powerful metaphor for the way the private moments of the characters are being taken and made visible more widely. The apps in use and the environments that they're used in are also familiar to us. There's no friend face or Skype chat here. It's all the actual things that you know from your daily life. It's another example of the film leaning into its primary idea quite hard, and the familiarity of the apps, of those little "you're doing something wrong" sounds when they click inactive links. Those all help sell that idea. It turns out that the characters themselves are pretty unlikable, but then it seems that so is everyone else. There's a point where someone talks about Laura, as far as we know, the initial victim, as a bully herself, and you have the anonymous commenters that pop up when the protagonist's stories are made public, they all indicate a world in which they're all moving, one where missteps and indiscretions caught at the wrong time mean complete ostracism from the group, and where that constant connection means that there's no escape from the harassment at all. It's a world where there are sharks and little fish, but those positions seem to be interchangeable almost endlessly. The film even messes with the horror convention of the final girl, although personally I could have done without the reveal of Laura right at the end, which I think spoils a lot of the work the film has been doing up to that point. I think it would have been a far stronger ending to close on the comments to the final post that the Billy Avatar makes, and perhaps leave it at Blair's reaction to that. It isn't a perfect film, but for me, the amount of innovation and the embrace of its central conceit and a sort of determined march into the seediness of its protagonists that also illuminates the darker corners of the world in which they move, that lifts it above the flaws it has for me. I think it's rated at something like 56% on Rotten Tomatoes, and that's entirely because 50% of people seem to absolutely detest it, and 50% of people think it's doing something really interesting. And enjoy is the wrong word, but it's definitely a film that I found, I didn't hate. So, yeah, there's got to be a better word than enjoy for what it is, but basically the way it leans into its central conceit and its innovation, that's what works for me. That's what makes it interesting. I think the nastiness of the characters is revealed gradually enough that you've kind of bought into them as protagonists by the time you are getting to find out how awful they are. So, yeah, it's more than a 5-minute discussion for me, this one. But yeah, I guess I'm headed to the bunker to have that discussion. So, pip pip.
Pip pip indeed, and thank you very much for that, sir. And you know what? I don't think you're going to the bunker. I think by now you should know that your feedback is well reasoned and well discussed, and I think even if we hated the film, I think that you're not going to the bunker. I think you get special dispensation for your analysis. But no, I agree. I think this film, what it does well, but the supernatural elements are the silly bits that let it down. But
well, I think it probably would have been even more effective had it not been a supernatural protagonist, but maybe
family member of the,
or even the person who got bullied. Not that they got, instead of actually taking their own life, decided to do.
Yeah, the problem is it dangles on that edge of being something like Saw or something like that, where it's suddenly it's like, let's play a game kind of thing.
Or as you say, a family member who, experiencing
or the whole
grief
family,
at the loss.
picking everyone off simultaneously kind of thing. I mean, I don't know, but as John rightly points out, even the initial victim, Laura, doesn't seem to be wholly innocent.
No. As I said, being with that group of people, I personally fail to believe that she could be totally sort of like, Snow White in all of this and not be marked by any kind of...
Well, exactly.
Like kids, in school can be very cruel to one another.
Yeah. I mean, it's, as John says, it's that whole thing of a single indiscretion is enough to flare up. And you see that in the actual film when the fifth member, the one who drinks the bleach, comes in, and she, just that one moment of seeing like a picture come up online, and it's like, I've got my hands up in the air. It can't be me, and then they just turn on each other like that, and it's like, I've actually seen that. I've seen that in my house, of kind of like Katie looks at Lisa wrong. Lisa looks at Katie wrong. Bang! Next thing I know, fucking cups are flying. Everyone's screaming. It's like, what the fuck just happened and why?
They're in the middle of a war zone.
I don't understand. I've just said, nice toast. That's all I've said. Next thing I know, there is World War III and an entire invasion of a small country going on in my living room. So yeah, teens turning on it. Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff that rings true, even if you don't necessarily like the characters. But anyway, good feedback, sir. Not going in the bunker. Well done. Thank you very much for that. Much appreciated. And in some ways, you almost do want to have that sort of sit around a table and a couple of drinks and go. And another thing, I've seen something else in this, and you could pick this apart. I just think it's the supernatural element that kind of makes it everything a bit silly, and you just kind of go whatever.
Well, in a way, but also the thing with most supernatural elements, I find when they use using it as the sort of like the bad in the film, is one of it. The main point is that you as a person can't harm, no matter what you do, you can't stop that enemy, right?
Yeah.
You are powerless.
Yeah.
In its presence.
But also, but then inversely, literally Blair finds the answer to solving the problem right at the very beginning, and she literally keeps going back to that page, and that page has the only way to get rid of this thing is to confess all your sins, do it straight away, don't hang up, you'll be fine. And she's like, straight away, she's like, oh, this must be, her boyfriend's like, this must be a ghost. And she's looking at the bloody page describing everything that's happening. And she's just like, nah, don't bother to forward it on to anyone. Don't bother to tell anyone.
I think that's quite a nice, dark little joke that you can find just about anything on Google as well. Even how to deal with something like this.
Yeah.
It has the irony of, don't always believe everything you read on the internet.
Well, that's true. Yeah. Exactly. Except in this instance, it's actually necessary. But anyway, so, that's really, really good feedback, sir. Thank you very much. And, look forward to the next time we hear from you, sir. Just to remind everyone, we won't be accepting feedback for next week's film, which is Cool as Ice, because obviously we'll be doing the commentary.
Yep.
And we might do a little breakdown afterwards, but
we might even break down afterwards.
We might even break dance afterwards if Vanilla Ice gets our groove going.
Yeah. Well, we'll. I mean, during the middle, we could just stop, collaborate, and listen.
Is Ice on the case, just in case you didn't listen?
Yeah. Will it ever stop? Yo, I don't know.
Check out the beats and let's go.
Well, to the extreme. I rock the mic like a vandal, light up the stage and wax some people like a candle.
That makes no sense.
Makes perfect sense in Ice's brain.
Ice's brain?
In Ice's brain.
I was going to say, whoa, what film are we watching?
Or Van Illa.
Van Illa.
Van Illa. See, he missed out a trick there. He could have been called Van Illa, as in...
his name is Van,
ill.
And he's Illin.
Yeah, he's Illin.
Van Illin.
Chillin' and a Illin.
Van Illin.
Yeah, chillin' and a Illin, which means he's got a cold, he's got shivers, and he's in bed with a nice limp sip.
Anyway, the last piece
or
of
hot
feedback.
toddy.
The last piece of feedback is from Michael the Belly Stabler Cornet, and presumably Voldar from the planet Phobos, from the moon of Phobos in his tapioca mines. And let's hear what they thought of Unfriended.
Good evening, Black Doggers. This is Mike Cornett, the Belly Stapler, your man in Baltimore.
And this is Voldar, your guy on Phobos.
Oh, fuck. It is hotter than the devil's taint here in Baltimore. We're having, the worst heat of the year so far.
And it's still cold on Phobos.
Oh. Doing better, guys. Thanks for all the well wishes. I didn't realize my feedback sounded quite so dismal as it did. But it's still a loss I feel keenly, but I'm learning to live with it. And Voldar sent me some really good tapioca.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Voldar.
It was the least I could do.
It's appreciated. So, Unfriended.
That was an interesting experience.
I knew nothing about this movie going into it. I really knew shit. I knew it was a horror film. That was about it. Got it from the local library, sat down and watched it, and at first I was like, oh my god, I don't know if I'm going to make it through this. I didn't realize it was just all a computer screen, the whole movie.
That really threw me at first. I just didn't know what to make of it.
Yeah, and I have to say, on the whole, I was not thrilled by this movie. But I have to give them such mad credit for trying. I mean, when you had something like Jack and Jill, which you did last week, which was just people not even fucking making any effort. They were just going for cheap laughs all the way. The people who made Unfriended were doing something different. Even if it didn't completely work as far as I was concerned, it was still different. They were making an effort. And part of it too was I was watching, I got the DVD from the library. I was watching it on TV. And there was a lot that I just couldn't make out from, sitting on the couch. And I realized about halfway through this that this really is a movie that should be watched on your computer screen, because our viewing habits are changing now. I mean, we used to go to the theater and see the CinemaScope. The Grandeur CinemaScope in glorious lifelike color by Deluxe. And everything was huge. Everything was grand, and some of that gets lost on a small screen. Well, now we watch things on TV, and we have the made-for-TV movies. And now we're watching more things on computer screens and cell phones. There's a movie called King Kelly, which was shot entirely with smartphones. And I've never seen it, but I'm told it's actually pretty smart and kind of funny. Yeah, this is a movie that really, I think, needs to be watched on a computer screen, preferably a MacBook. Because if you're familiar with using a MacBook, you'll probably get all this.
And one thing I really liked too was it addresses the bullying thing. And
yes, exactly. I was, and not to wallow in self-pity, I do enough of that, holy shit, but not to wallow in self-pity, I was really badly bullied when I was a kid, and to the point where, it left a mark. I'll just put it that way. So I get what it's like to be bullied. I get what it's like to consider killing yourself because you're just so absolutely miserable. It was watching this and watching those horrible people getting their comeuppance was kind of fun.
Well, one thing I thought of too was how because you're sitting there watching this and you're watching this on your computer screen and all this is taking place, it's really making you as the viewer complicit because you're seeing everything from that main character's viewpoint. And it's putting you in that position, and which of us has not participated in something in some online shaming or some kind of bullying or something like that?
Yeah, you're right.
So this is coming at you, the viewer, because you have been responsible for this or have participated in this or have just stood by and let it happen at some point in the past. Haven't you?
Wow, Voldar. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, this is like putting you in the spot of the person who has been the bully.
Wow. This is like, yeah, we're getting really deep. This is like something that was born of our discussions about Cabin in the Woods, about how it may be addressing something, but it's really making you, the viewer, complicit in it. Because we, the viewers, were the great old ones in Cabin in the Woods. We were being appeased by all this stuff. So anyway, I am running long, but I really had to get all this out. But
yeah, I mean, absolutely. You, the viewer, are complicit in this. You, the viewer, are being made part of this. And I think that's a rather unique perspective.
Yeah, it's like, but I think for both Voldar and I, it just didn't quite click because I think we were both watching on TV screens.
Yep, I was watching on a TV screen.
So I think it lost something in that. So I wasn't crazy about it. I think it does have intrinsic flaws. I think that just the killings are just a little too, like teen movie-ish. But mad props for trying. I give them so much credit for at least trying to do something different. And whether or not they succeed is a matter of opinion. So, mad credit. And I think that's enough for us. You okay up there, Volder?
Yep. It's cold and all that.
Well, it's hot, so... Oh, the secret, guys. I'm naked. All right. Mwah. Bye.
Well, thank you very much for that mental image there, Michael. Thank you indeed. There you go. Well, thank you for that feedback. And, again, this kind of echoes what we've said and echoed what John said. You can't completely dismiss the film. I mean, it's got problems, and they're like, as you say, and I've said, the supernatural element is actually probably the weakest part of it. But the fact it is trying something different, and it does mainly succeed in its aim of trying to portray the whole Skype culture and everything. I think cyberbullying and and the whole making you complicit, I think, is a really interesting thing, even if it isn't successful. As you say, quite rightly, at least tried something different and succeeded in that attempt, if not necessarily in the whole film, in trying to portray that whole thing. And yeah, I think the only shame is now that at some point this is just going to be one of those things that gets picked up as an idea and just everyone's going to be doing it.
Oh, of course.
Because Unfriended 2 will come out and then you'll just be like endless, like Unfriended, Unfacebooked, FaceTime or face. I've gone live, I've gone dead, or any of that crap. You can see it coming from a mile off. But
yeah,
Twitter, I don't know. Just a picture of someone getting hit over the head with a cricket bat.
Digital deviants.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, deviant art. But anyways,
Hell Online.
Oh God Almighty. Yeah, exactly. Warcraft. I don't know. I'm trying to do puns.
Your hell.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, never mind. Well, I'm not going to try it anymore. It's too late for that now.
Tumbler down the stairs.
Oh, there you go. But yeah. Anyway, so thank you for that, Michael. I mean, like I say, I think in many cases you've echoed a lot of what we've said and a lot of what John said and a lot of other feedback has said. So, yeah, cool. And if you want to read more of Michael's musings, I don't think Voldar's got a blog because Tapioca's really hard to type on.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you want to read Michael's blog, you can go to dustandcorruption.blogspot.com. And and check it out. And I'm glad that well wishes and everything are were well received, and hope you're carrying on your dealing with your grief. So there you go. Right, well that's it. So thank you very much for that, Michael. Thank you to everyone who sent in feedback. Thank you for listening and all that kind of stuff. So that's good, and we're going to wrap it up here. As we said earlier on in the episode, we will be doing the Vanilla Ice, Cool as Ice watch along commentary thing.
Yep.
Still no idea whether or not it'll be live on Mixler. There is an idea we might do it, but that's really going to be a last minute thing. But if we do it, then cool. If we don't, it'll be the podcast will be up on Tuesday, and it'll be to go along with this terrible film. So we won't be wanting any feedback for Vanilla Ice. If you send any feedback in, it will be ignored.
Yep.
No offense to anyone.
We'll be cooking feedback like a pound of bacon.
Yeah. Check out the hook while the DJ revolves it. But anyway, no. So the thing is, we won't be reading any feedback out for Vanilla Ice, Cool as Ice. Just simply because we're going to have to watch the film in real time and then discuss it afterwards. So we will literally be 2 hours just us.
We may not even be capable of coherent speech anyway.
By the end of it, we might not know. So there you go. So just to remind you once again, if you do want to donate, then you can go to the Just Giving page, which is linked on the Facebook group, which is facebook.com/groups/The Black Dog Podcast, or Just Giving /fundraising/Black Dog Cool as Ice. And then apart from that, that's about it, really. I think, yeah, Jim will be back next week, so that's good. And so before we go, one last thing, Elton, have you got anything else to tout, sir?
Well, all I'm going to ask for this week is some 5-star reviews on the Black Dog Podcast iTunes page, please.
Well, that's very kind of you.
Pop over there. If you have done reviews before, I think you can do reviews again, and it counts. But if you haven't done a review, please pop along there and give us 5 minutes on there.
That's very kind of you, sir. Thank you for that.
Indeed.
Yeah. And yes, and we will. I let the cat out of the bag a little bit earlier on, but we will be doing a Patreon site. I don't really feel comfortable about doing cap in hand stuff, but bits of this podcast are starting to fall apart.
Yeah.
So in a very physical way, but
not just Darren.
Not just Darren. No, we can replace him. just
look. Let's just sort of like lay it out as we know the truth here about this. This isn't about the actual podcast itself. It's buying me stickle bricks so we can have the craft corner back. That's what this Patreon is actually all about. Okay, I'm going to be honest, Lee. I believe in transparency.
Right. Okay.
I really, all the way. You know, I'm not a politician.
No.
I'm not like those money grabbing, self-serving gits up there in Westminster.
No.
Okay, I believe we should be transparent.
Yes, exactly. We're all transparency all the way.
All transparency.
All we're going to do is spend the money on hookers and stickle bricks.
Yes.
What a pie that would be.
And maybe I'll grind some stickle bricks down and sniff them.
Sniffing stickle bricks.
Up my nose. I'll do a line of stickle.
Do a stickle brick. Anyway, yeah. So we will be doing that. And don't worry, there's no pressure, there's no nothing. I'm not going to be the hard sell. It literally is, when we do it, it's going to be because we need to start replacing some of the kit that makes this podcast actually go. But yeah, because we've lost 2 mics and a soundboard so far. But anyway, we'll talk about that another time. Moving on. So before we go, once again, do go over and check out Elton's stuff over at shonkylab.co.uk, isn't it? Or is it .com? .com. And rogue2media.com as well, which is the Grand Prix podcast and the Band of Brothers and the Shonky Lab. And also, again, not that I want to do the sort of like serious public service announcement thing, but we have been talking a lot about the cyberbullying aspect of this thing, and the fact that we've got kids getting into all this kind of stuff and knowing where it's all going to possibly end up.
Yep.
And again, if you're listening to this and you just think, oh God, something like that's happening to my kids, or something like that's happening to me, or, you know, as we've heard, you know, Michael's had bullying, you know, Cole's dealing with people like that. Darren and I have been through this kind of shit, but never in the internet age. Go over to somewhere like bullying.co.uk, childline.org, antibullyingpro.com, or the internetmatters.org/online safety/cyberbullying. Right. That's it. Next time you will hear us, we will be sitting down on a sofa with beers and vanilla ice.
Yep.
Cool as ice. So, again, no feedback required. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you for all your feedback this week. Thank you, Darren. Thank you, Elton. And we'll be back with Jim and Mr. Owl next week. And until then, take care. See you later. Tatty bye.
Bye.
Ta-da.
bollocks to it.